Right, welcome back to Talking Transitions. Today's guest is an absolute inspiration to us all, Joe Thompson. Joe, thank you very much for coming down. We really appreciate it, mate. We're going to start off with a few quick-fire questions
Okay.
to lighten up the mood in here.
Okay.
The energy's already flowing.
The energy's already been flowing off camera, but yeah, we're going to lighten up the mood a little bit before we start going into it.
Okay.
Right, Joe, who's the best player you've ever played with?
Played with. Let me think. The best player I've ever played with. I'll throw a curveball in because that's the type of person I am. So Craig Dawson, for one. So I always look at Craig and I knew where he was going when he was at Rochdale. I've never seen professionalism like it. And I think his career shows you that. He's gone to various clubs. Yep. Everyone's always doubted him. Said he can't run, he's too slow. He's still playing now. He's so grounded. He understands the other side, i.e. switching off. He's got a beautiful family. But he was the best for me. There is loads, but I want a curveball. And you can see that in his career. You know, he goes on to West Ham.
Where's he at now? Where's he at? West Brom? Wolves.
Yeah.
He manages to get... I mean, the team goes down, he manages to stay in the Prem, doesn't he?
Yeah, because you've got a trusted soldier there.
Yeah.
And once you've got that repetition and you've got that reputation...
Yeah. I've never come across him, but he just looks like he's a role model.
Laser focus, man.
My mate was at Rochdale at the same time as you, and I think the manager was really on him to work hard off the field as well. He used to stay behind and everything, didn't he? And do all the right things.
And I've seen it on podcasts since, like Troy Deeney mentioned about him when he was at Watford. Everyone tried to chip away at him, like, oh, stop being busy. You don't need to do that. It was all just mental rehearsal. Yeah. And you just knew as soon as he played, so he wasn't due to make his debut. Come on trial. And he was like, on the Monday, I was taking him to and from training. And he was like, I've got a cricket match on Sunday. I'm just going to see how we get on at the weekend. But he was really good at cricket as well. So I'm thinking, Dad, this kid's not really focused. Like, forget cricket. You got a big audition on Saturday. Let's make it happen. He's doing his training. He then does well in that game. He then gets a chance to come away with us to, I think it was like in Marbella. And I remember he's doing like this pattern of play and we're moving away. And a sprinkler popped up and Craig fell over it. And everyone started laughing. It was the making of the man. He was like, right, you think I'm a laughing stock, yeah? Watch this. Boom, boom, boom. The main centre-half did his shoulder in right before the season started. He played against Port Vale. And you were like, Jesus, like, what have we unearthed there? And Keith Hill at the time, he would protect him because he knew. And obviously he knew he had an asset and he was going to go on to bigger and better things. But nobody could say anything to him. He just left him. He was like, he knew he was going to be professional. He knew he was going to do the stuff at the start. He knew he was going to recover after. It was like high performance, but just starting off here. Yeah. And then his trajectory was always going to happen.
I have a feeling I know who you're going to say for this, but best manager played under?
I've just had some real cannonballs that you can, if you really want to, you can really unpick what they're trying to teach you. So I look at Keith Hill, obviously been a big part of my life. But I've always seen coaches as managers, as father figures. Yeah. Because I've never had my dad really present in my life. So they're my reference point. I want to know. So Tony Whelan at Manchester United, he's still there now. It's like, you do not touch him. He's like an archangel because he's helped so many of them. But he taught you things way beyond the white lines as a young kid that you didn't get at the time. And then as you become a dad, you're like, who told me this? Boom, Tony Whelan it was. Then Keith Hill gave me the chance to play professional. Sometimes, though, we used to bang heads because I used to think he's not being condescending, but it's not the best way to motivate me. But he's always believed in me. And then there was Keith Curl. I had Ronnie Moore. Wow, that was an experience.
Used to be picking apples. I remember that.
Mate, every day.
When the manager's walking around the outside of the pitch, he mentioned Ronnie Moore.
Stop. He didn't turn up till Thursday, yeah? And then he's in this little shed, and if it was raining, he'd stand in the doorway, and he'd be like, hey, Tomo. And I've got
Is that your Scouse accent there?
Wait for it. I'm fully aware I'm on enemy territory, yeah. But look, I'm coming. I'm going to give you what I need to give you there. I'm going to shoot back to Manchester. He was like, Tomo, you're going to get me sacked. And it was like, what do you mean, like, miss one, like a sitter or put it past the post? He's like, I'm going to be hanging from the stand. I was like, all right, Gaffer, when did you turn up? Like, and then he'd always stand by the post at shooting practice. He didn't realise. So all the lads start pinging balls in net. And then the game changes, like, right, we've peppered the goalkeeper. All the best. And his neck was locked and he couldn't move.
Stiff neck, didn't he?
Did he? So he had this amazing squat. So you'd fire the ball, and if it's going near his head, he'd just squat down and he'd be like, hit the target. I'm like, I've just missed the target. You're the target.
Do you know another thing as well, though? He'd say turn up on Thursday, yeah, he wouldn't even coach. So it was just
Johnny
Mac,
he wouldn't even coach.
He wouldn't coach, and
John McMahon.
Yeah, John McMahon, and he'd walk around the circumference of the pitch. And one day I saw him. He had a ball in his hand, and he's twatting the ball up at the top of a tree. And I think, is there a ball stuck or something? An apple dropped. He rubbed it on his finger. Started eating it.
He's brilliant. And then the team talk on the Friday, it didn't matter who he was playing. He'd be like, we got him, lads. I was like, he'd go, the centre half can't run, turns like a QE2. I was going on my phone like, what's a QE2? It's a big liner, yeah. It's a big boat. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's what it means. QE2, can't turn, can't run. He's like, the defenders, the left back, right, they're good at going forward, but they hate it when you run at them. Okay, midfield, he's just a dog in there. He's just a rat. He's a passer. Then he's like, he's got a bit of pace. He's a maverick. And then it would be the same. Yeah. You'd be like...
Sounds like every League 2 team.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, what are we doing the team talk for then, Gaffer? And then he'd be like, just to let you know what they're like. And then it was like, brilliant, mate. Brilliant.
Proper old school.
Old school. So I've had some unbelievable managers. I don't want to put them in because they've all added something into my life. But that's because I've been open-minded to listen and learn. But maybe didn't get some of the lessons at the time, but yeah.
Worst dressed player?
Ian Henderson. Nah, I'm only joking. I know smart. He's been on. Yeah, he's learned. Listen, he had a few years sat here,
he's a businessman now, mate, looking smart every day.
Evolution.
That's what I loved about him, though. Yeah. So when I went back to Rochdale, changing room was really like tight, and I'm looking in there first day, I'm thinking, and Endo's like this. And he makes some room for me. We like virtually sat here on this chair all the time. He's like, come here, JT. I've got some space for you, mate. And I was like, he does this. He's like, come under the wing. I'm like, get off me. I've flipping got my own wings, man. I'm good. But we used to talk about anything and everything but football.
Yeah.
But football.
Back then as well.
Yeah. And he used to be like, look at them all. He's gonna laugh. He's gonna say, stop being busy. He's gonna go,
and then they're all gonna follow.
Yeah, and then the manager's gonna come in and go, what's going on here? And then he's like, right, everyone get out. And he's like, called it, told you, come on, let's get our boots on. Brilliant, mate, brilliant. And we had some really cool conversations, depth to it as well, proper substance. And it's no surprise that whatever he does moving on, I was like, Hendo, you might as well leave it, man. You're bigger than these changing rooms. It's like bigger than the white lines of a footy pitch. He's going to go and do his thing now in business, and he's obviously smashed Herbalife as well.
And hopefully starts picking up his dress sense as well.
Yeah, no, he's learning. He's learning. But if you ever seen him on a night out, wow, you will get the spiciest shirt going. And he's like...
4 buttons undone.
Oh... It's out.
Florals.
It's out. It's like, love it though, don't you, JT? And I'm like, you spicy character.
I'm gonna go off topic then of football.
Go on.
Favourite book, seeing as you're so passionate about it, and we spoke about it briefly.
Can't say my own, can I? Can't do that, because that would be like pushing it out there. And,
but,
we are gonna touch on it later on.
Yeah, we will do. That's fine. Favourite book. Every book that comes into my hand, I'm taking something from it. So I'm reading The Monk That Sold His Ferrari. Tells you everything. And it is like, I'm writing notes all the time. I'm highlighting. I'm like, wow, you can't give me that. That's like an unbelievable bar. Like,
well, is it to kind of talk about material things, is it? Or
so it's a guy, and we don't want to spoil it. It's a guy that had everything, whatever everything is. But then he lost it all. and he just went off on a journey, and he found some monks, and he found himself, and then he came back to the Western world and just started giving wisdom and absolute gems and pearls. So that's one that I'm with at the moment. But I'd also say becoming supernatural. Go do your homework. That's where we're at.
Cool.
Funniest teammate?
Oh, Nicky Adams.
Yeah.
Have you?
I've never played against him, but I've heard everyone say how funny he is.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Special person. Calvin Andrews is right up there as well. Again, just got too much sauce and personality for League 2, League 1, whatever. Like, really are special people. And even like Nicky, I remember I pulled up, and bear in mind, at the start of his career, he was at Bury, he's doing really well. He then went to Leicester. And then come on loan to us from Brentford, I think. And he rocked up on the first day with a big Range Rover, and he was like, "Oh, the boys made it out of the ghetto." Turned his music up. Many men wish death upon me. I'm like, what is this? Look at B-Rabbit here. Like, look who's like, but he was himself from the get-go. No matter, and I've been with him a few times in a few different places, authentic. And then when he's really struggling, he said to me, "Right, we're going on a night out, stay at mine. So go on a night out, come back to his." I'm looking in this room, bunk beds. I said, "Adamsy, where am I staying?" He was like, "The top or the bottom?" I went, "Nah, keys. Come on, mate. We're playing professional." He was like, "Don't. I've had to do this. I've had to do that." He said, like, Mrs. has had the house. It's hard times, like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, credible, man. And then he woke up. I was like, "Where's the breakfast?" He was like, "Get some shreddies down you." Or "You got Cheerios." I was like, "Nah, you can't be powered off that every day. He's super fit. Body's a joke." Like, I'm like, no. He's like, "Yeah, this is the ghetto, mate."
It's giving Cole Palmer vibes, isn't it? Or he talks about the chippy chips.
Oh, yeah. But that's Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
Maverick doesn't think about it. You can see in his interviews, he's looking at the interview like...
Yeah.
Imagine if he... Isn't it mad how good he is? But imagine if he'd done all the things that...
I don't think he'd be as good.
No.
Probably wouldn't, would he?
No. He needs to be himself. He needs to go out on that pitch being himself.
Listen,
to play the way he's playing.
We've got a little group of my mates, yeah? Every Tuesday, play football. Obviously, I've not played for a while, but the standard of the Tuesday is scary. Cole Palmer, not last year, the year before, turns up, starts running riot with some of the lads, and all the lads are frazzled, and he's just laughing at him. And he's like, "Watch this, woomph." And one of them was like, "I wanted to take his head off." I was like, "You did, because you knew there was levels." Yeah. And even he had a manager, Brian Barry Murphy.
Yeah.
Was
you at Rochdale with him?
Yeah. So he was also head of City, yeah. He tells an unbelievable story about Cole. He said he used to jump on his phone at half time to his mates. He'd be like, "Game's not going well, you know." And he's like, Cole, he's looking at him like, "Cole, you can't be FaceTiming your mates. I've got all these that need to listen to my team talk." And he's like, "But anyway, lads, I've got to go. Gaffer says I've got to go. I'm just going to bang in 3 in the second half." You guess what happens at 90 minutes.
Oh, my God.
Hat-trick's done. He's like, "I told you, fellas." Like, bulletproof, man. It's special
stories like that.
The last one, Joe. It's an important one as well, which I'm looking forward to. The best advice you've been given, or the best advice you would give to someone else?
Never stop learning. Don't think you've always got it figured out. You have, but it's like the Mario game, innit? You go up to the next level, then you've got to meet the next boss at the end of it, and it's going to get difficult, it's going to get hard. But yeah, never stop learning. Never, anyone that you come across, even if you don't like them, take something from that. Why don't I like that? Okay, so there's a lot of work that you've got to do on yourself, but that constant evolution and that growth mindset for me is like, it's at the core of everything.
Ian spoke about that a lot.
Did he?
Growth mindset.
Yeah.
But
an abundance. So I went round to Hendo's house one time, and he's got this wall. It's like something out of Beautiful Mind. I was like, "Tell me about that." He's got all his clients, all his things, and he can dance you through it all. And I'm like, wow, where do we start here? So there is prep that you definitely need. You need to obviously get your routine. And I think with footballers, that's what you're searching for, aren't you? You know that it's not one fits all, but the best, like Ronaldo, for example, he brings his own coach along. He's got his own team. He knows when he's having food. I'll be in the gym at that time. I'm not doing a blanket session with the lads. So it's very, very hard to stand on your word, be authentic. Obviously, once success comes, people don't question it. And when they do, they soon learn. So it's growth mindset is key. All of them. Kobe Bryant talks about it all the time. Just be curious. Yeah.
But we wouldn't know based on your accent, but you wasn't actually born in Manchester, was you?
No.
You was born in Somerset.
Yeah, Bath. Yeah, Bath's home for me.
Lovely city.
It is.
Yeah.
Everyone always says that.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
great, but it's not great if you've got no money.
Very expensive. It's an expensive city.
Very expensive, yeah.
I've never been, lads.
Yeah, go, man. I'll take you down
I
there.
don't even know where it is. Where is it?
It's not far from Bristol.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful.
History,
cathedrals, very, very affluent area. But if I call us like kind of city rats, me and my brother, if you ain't got no money, it's tough. And I remember one of my earliest memories is my mum used to always buy us hoodies, and she used to put us hoodies on, and we used to put the hoodie on, not knowing why. It was like, Mum, it's it's hot, like rah rah rah. She used to put like little biscuits in our hoods, and then just like
walk out the shop,
knowing everything gonna pull the kids. Then she'd buy like the essentials with whatever she had, and then she'd give you a surprise on the night time. So yeah, Bath is home. When I go back, I feel like I'm home, but it's very, very expensive. I've got a lot of families that still live down there. I should go down more, but time and tide and family commitments and all of that can be quite difficult. So yeah.
So is that one of the reasons why you moved up to Manchester then?
The main reason is my mum got sectioned on a psychiatric ward. So I remember being in the flat. So we lived in that kind of outer city, high rise, riddled with crime and drugs. Like one of my earliest memories is finding a heroin needle, and my mum absolutely I was like, what is it? In the park. There was these garages as well where you never went down, and you just felt it as a kid because you were going to see all sorts going on. My dad was never really in my life, so he effectively was a drug dealer. Yeah, let's say it how it is. But I don't like putting titles on people, but that's where he was at the time. And my mum got sectioned. My brother got run over outside the school gates, which was the most traumatic thing I've ever witnessed. And I remember that just tipped my mum over the edge. So everyone will always say, she's always been crazy or she's had mental health. She has, but there's a beautiful spirit in there and people gravitate towards her. But what that also means is that she starts to help everybody. Yeah. I'm like, no, Michelle, you got to keep pouring into you. I'm guilty of that. Yeah. Very much an empath. But I've got to recognise and set my own boundaries. And, I always say, like, pull the gates up to the castle. Not everyone can come in. And she struggled with that. That tipped her over the edge. And I remember being sat on the sofa and two doctors, a psychiatric nurse and a police officer, I think, came to the door and they took her away. So then within 24 hours, my auntie came down from near Manchester. She then took us up north, so we didn't go into care. My mum then went 3 months in hospital down south. We did go back a few days later to see her, but that was like, I'm like 8, and you don't want to go in a psychiatric ward. It's a sad, sad place, and you are on red alert because everyone's sedated, but you actually don't know what anyone's going to do. So I was like, that place is not going to fix her. If anything, we need to get her up and out. And she recognised that. So we moved just outside of Manchester where she had bigger, better support network. And that's where I came up to Rochdale. And I started at a school that my auntie was teaching at. And I remember just like I was first exposure to racism. So some kid called me like a packy, and I was like, one, you got to get the demographic right. If that's what you're going to do, like, I'm not Asian. And then he was like, oh, you black this, you black that. And then, so we ended up fighting. So that was like week 2 or something like that at school. My auntie's obviously in the background telling them what we've been through. And my brother's doing the exact same 3 years down. He's scrapping with people. And then we got absolutely filled in on this council estate by this kid. And it was like, wow. And bear in mind, all this time, my mum's down south, still not with us. So there was a lot of uncertainty at the start. And then she come up, everything settles down. We get this little 2-bed, 2 up, 2 down in a little council estate. And yeah, we start to live life again. And that's where football came in though. Because I realised straight away coming up to the Northwest in particular, it's infatuated with footy. So many clubs. So in order for me to fit in at school, it was like, I'd never really kicked a football. I'd always been like super quick, but athletics was cool with me. So I started doing cross country. That everyone was raving about it. Like I was just, free spirit running wild. And then I thought, I don't like winning on my own. I want to be part of something bigger, a team, a unit. And football was the opener. 6 months of being up north, Man United came calling. Played in this trial game in this tournament. I remember the moment where the scout clocked on. This keeper's massive. I just lobbed him. And the scout went like that. And then he come up to us after it and he was like, can I speak to your mum? My mum wasn't there, so the coach would always take me because my mum's never drove and obviously she got to look after my brother as well. So he gave his number out and I was at Man United within 6 months on trial. I think 6-week trial, 2 weeks done. They're like, here's a 3-year deal. I remember speaking to my mum post-career. She was like, I was petrified when you signed at Man United because I knew this was going to be your first heartbreak. I knew there was going to come a time when you left that club, whether it was 3 years' time, whether it's 6 years' time, whether it's 9 years' time, you have a career like the class of 92. You're still going to leave that place at some point and it's going to leave you broken. And I was like, wow, yeah. But she said, I looked at it, it's going to give you the structure. You're going to be staying fit. You're going to be part of a team. Coaches are going to buy into you. You're going to travel the world. Never been on a plane before I signed at Man United. And he did all of that.
We speak about everything happening for a reason a little bit sometimes, but you'd never touched the football prior to living in Manchester. Well, obviously, you probably played a little bit, but in terms of
people had rolled it to me in the playground. I'm too, boot it back. I'm down the slide or climbing up a tree.
Isn't it mad how, obviously, something which was obviously quite traumatic has led to you obviously getting into your first club and
genuinely believe that
big part of your life as well.
If you can see it, trauma can turn into triumph. If you can see it. And it's hard to see it in the midst of the chaos and the carnage. It really is. But if you can calm yourself down, find that composure, get that clarity, you'll soon conquer it. And once you do, you're like, right, what next?
So at this time then, when you're going into Man U, are they getting travel for you and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Obviously it happens with it happens with a lot of kids, doesn't it?
I was always late though, so my auntie was the one that would take me. So my mum would ring around the council estate and be like, right, can anyone take Joe to training? Because it's like an hour away. So some people would take me training, drop me off. My mum was always looking after my young brother. Obviously, it's late night. So if he did come, he came, he'd do his own work. But if not, he'd stay at home and he'd get put to bed. My auntie would always pick me up. Started off at the Cliff, which was brilliant. So there's your grounding, and the club still do it now. Then they go to Carrington, class of 92, treble winning. You're like, clubs goes off in a different stratosphere. Commercially, they get Nike. All of a sudden, you got all the boots. They're still doing the black boots, which I love. But you're thinking, here we go. Pitches are crisp, all of that. And you've got the grounding because you know where you've been. There was nothing wrong with the Cliff, but there's levels to it. You got to earn your stripes. So that happens, and I remember coming down the lane probably the first 2 or 3 weeks at Carrington, and if you've ever been, there's little lay-bys on the side where you got to pull over, So my auntie's This car's coming up lane, about to break down. I'm like, just get me to training. We're late as it is. Like, I hated it. Because you're just thinking, I'm missing 15, 20 minutes where all these lads are getting a jump on me. And I'm not going into the training session feeling relaxed and, you know, composed. This car pulls over, a massive G-Wagon, winds it down. It's like, your front light's not working. Rio Ferdinand. So I was like, no way have we, in this banger, just move Rio Ferdinand out the way and just get us to training. Like, I was frazzled. I was like, yeah. So I had 7 years there.
What lads were in your age group there?
The ones that have done well and really kicked on. So in my direct age group, Tom Cleverley, James Chesters, Ben Amos.
Probably,
yeah. There's loads. Fabian Brandy.
Yeah, I remember him. He was sick. I was speaking to Chesney about him. Because Chesney's at Salford, me.
Yes.
I was speaking about Fabian Brandy. He was sick. He used to love playing against him.
Oh. Man U, obviously, like most clubs, but Man U are renowned for having players to go on. Like most big clubs, usually they filter down to lower leagues, but Man U have got...
When you really look at it, there's kids that might have spent 4 years there. Tommy Rowe.
Yeah.
Doncaster
Tommy
super pro, man.
He's back there now, isn't he?
Living the dream, man.
He's flying now.
Flying. It's just his body, mate.
Oh, he's
running the gaff with these young pups. And I'm like, but he's almost gone full circle.
Yeah.
He got released, like, 20 minutes between me and him. And we both got released for fundamentally because we were too small.
Yeah.
They even went as far as sending us for hand scans to try and predict our height. Yeah, and come back with me 5'10". So now when I go in and I'm like leading up the academy alumni side of things, I see all the coaches and they're all down there, and I lean on them on purpose. I'm like, 5'10", yeah, standing here 6'1". He's got it wrong, but they got it right at the time. I wasn't impacting the games. I was getting run over. All the lads started getting beards. I'm still looking at my chest and down below going, nothing there.
Still got blondies.
Yeah, there's nothing there, man. And it was very, very intimidating. It was a real humbling experience. So when I got released, I remember thinking, so you had Danny Simpson that would play down because there was only 2 from his age group. Fraser Campbell would play with you. Welbeck would play up. Who else? Danny Drinkwater.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. And then you've got the likes of like Phil Bardsley and other ones ahead of you. So you then got Wes, you got Darren Fletcher, you got John O'Shea. You can see the path, but there's loads of them that have filtered down into the league. And you always remember your grounding in your education. And it really was like a monastery, you know, making like the lads who they need to be as men, but also as footballers.
I think, man, you've got, not the record, but for the most players who are actually playing in the Football League that have come through
and
here.
They also give the special ones loads of opportunities in the first team. So that record's there, yeah? Every week, there's one of them that have come through. It's almost like it's unwritten rule, non-negotiable. And it's look at Johnny Evans. Gone away, been successful, come back, everyone's doubting it. No. This is homeostasis. This is home. Yeah, people are going to say, oh, you're fit. No, come off it, man. Watch. Look with your eyes, not with your thoughts and your opinions. So it was an unbelievable time, but got released in the middle of my GCSEs. So I've got all these teachers all the time at school projecting, you won't make it. You know, you need to have your head in the books. All I'm thinking is, shut up, mate. I'm going to the stars. And I kid you not, you look at all my school books, practicing my signature in the back. Back 2 pages, signature after signature after signature after signature. Now we know what we know. I'm just like visualizing. Sorry, sir, what did you say? Tell me what such and such is. Don't know. Back to it. And then the funny thing is get released and my school dynamics change on me. So I didn't tell anyone for about 3 weeks. Then it got out.
Well, because you was embarrassed?
Embarrassed. Right. Identity, like, stripped. It was no longer Joe Thompson, the kid that played for Man U. It's like it's your second name. So I was like soul searching. Who am I? What am I? I've lost it all. My mum was like doing everything because this is the first heartbreak. Yeah. And I was just lost. So lost. And it was my PE teacher that clocked it. He was like, what's up? And he asked me one day, I was like, oh, no, nothing, I'm fine. Anyone tells you they're fine, newsflash, it's time to peel under another layer. So he come again the next day. No, I'm fine. He come again the next day. And then he pulled me when we was doing some cricket. He was like, what is wrong with you? And I went, sir, there's nothing wrong with you. He's like, what is wrong with you? I said, I've been released. Started crying. He was like, well, where have you been going for the last few weeks? And I was like, I've been on trial at Blackburn, been on trial at Wigan, I've been Liverpool are asking, Bolton are asking, nothing's good enough. I know what the best looks like. So anything else down here. And I say it all the time, chip on the shoulder. Nothing, football doesn't owe me shit. But I thought it did. I'm walking into these clubs. Yeah, I've been at Man United. There's a load of hype and all. Still got to go out there and perform. But I see so many players now paralysed by like expectation. And I'm like, just, you think about when you've played the best games. You've not even thought about it. It's a total flow state. And the game feels like it goes like that. And you're like, if I could bottle that feeling up and give it to someone, I'd be a millionaire. So it was a real eye-opener. And he said, why don't you go down to Rochdale? And this is where I first met Keith Phil. I walk into this little AstroTurf. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? Like, this is a fall from grace. And he goes, cubic zirconians. I was like, oh, shit. I'm not taking my earrings out. He's like, you're not a Man U now. And I was like, thinking, I know, I can see. Look, you've all not even got the same kit on. Like, he's got blue shorts, he's got white. I was like, I know I'm not.
What age is this, Joe?
16.
Yeah.
So get released, go to thingy,
So,
middle of my GCSEs.
so usually those 16-year-olds don't really meet the manager at that point? What?
No, so he was youth team manager.
He was youth team manager, was he?
Youth team manager. And soon started barking orders. I was thinking, this guy is brutal. I went home to my mum and was like, I can't play for him. She was like, what do you mean? I said, he said this, he said that. And she said, so what are you going to do? Run? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, go back on Tuesday, another training session, see how you get on. So anyway, I started running rings around everyone. Started to feel good, started to get the confidence. Then come up on the first team manager's radar, who was Steve Parkin, who's now the assistant at Wrexham.
Yep.
So he actually gave me my debut, but it was baptism of fire with Keith Phil. But then when I got in and around the first team, I loved it. I was like, I went to Torquay one time, and I was like 19th man. I had the best coach journey ever. You couldn't tell me like 6 or 7 hours, and then you're going to tell me I'm not in the squad. I was like, there's gems going on here. I'd gravitate to the older ones. They're like, what are you doing at the back? I'm like, making them bruise. I'd be like, go on. Tell me what you're doing at cards. Tell me that joke again. And you know what it can get like? It can go anywhere. I was just a sponge.
I was the same.
I was like, do you want a drink? And then they did that whole one. Has anyone seen the stadium? And I was like, he's there. It's there. I was like, and they was like,
we can't be far from the stadium now, it is.
No,
we can't be far from the stadium.
yeah.
Everyone's looking out the window. Where are you?
Yeah. They were like, idiot. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna bang that one. I was like, don't worry about it. I'm gonna do that on the next kid that comes in here. See the stadium? You've seen it? It's there, idiot. So I just loved it. Absolutely loved it. 17, straight in the deep end. I remember my first touch as well. I went to like flick it on with a header. It just went boom up there, and I was like,
oh no.
Whoa. And this old guy, he's called Igor Arinaldi, yeah? Really old, grey long hair, Spanish. Come on, second half, I was like, he's getting it. I know I'm faster than him. I've watched him for 65, 70 minutes. Didn't get anywhere near him. He did everything one touch. He knew it was a schooling of my life, and I was like...
It must have been if you remembered his name.
Oh, yeah, I was like, I love this. I'll see you again in however many months. But yeah, it was just an incredible time.
You sound pro there?
Signed pro, scored on my debut, header, shut my eyes. Never done that before. The Darlington. Yeah. Ball came in and it was that good of a ball from Tom Kennedy. I was like... And it just went... Poof, bottom corner. And I was getting loads of stick from the fans because the first 15 minutes was shocking. In the warm-up, my boots split. So I then run in, and because you know what you like with your boots, you're like, no, these are the ones. They split. So I go in the boot room, I'm looking, there's no size 9s for me. And then this lad, Simon Ramsden, went, I've got some vapors for you, but they're 8.5s. For the first 15 minutes of this game, I am like Bambi on ice. My toes are killing me. I remember loosening the lace. I was like, and then I headed the ball in. And I was like, scored. My mum will, vouch for me all day long. She's in the stands and she's hearing what everyone's saying. Like, who is he? They're all telling me he's this, he's that. And I just go like this to my home fans. So my mum's got a picture at home, and I'm like,
your own fans.
Shh. First goal, first 15 minutes of a start. I'm going, shh, settle down. And my mum's like this. She said she was like this. She was like, and she said, someone said, what does that mean? Why is he coming over towards us? She's like, I know exactly what he's saying there, and I'm going to have to tell him about himself when he gets over.
Must be horrible being a family member, when you put...
brutal.
I don't know, my dad sometimes, holds his mouth and all that, because, he's fucking a little bit of an angry man. Got little man syndrome.
Let's be real. And I love fans to pieces, the proper fans that cheer the team on.
Yeah.
But they don't understand how powerful they can be. So if you get behind your team, and we felt it where you've been away somewhere and the team get the momentum and the home fans get behind them, it's a wave.
When you're talking about the energy, that's
the energy it's a tidal wave.
You feel it.
You're like, ooh, that doesn't feel like, and you just have all that momentum. So I did that. I then set up Glen Murray for another goal. We won 3-1. That was it then. We got going, we got playing, and yeah.
You spent how many years there before you moved on to Tranmere?
Was it 5 or 6?
5 or 6 years there.
Yeah, 5 or 6. So that's so played about maybe, I don't know, 140 games. Got promoted for the first time in a long time. Big part of, integral part of that promotion winning team. Some unbelievable characters. We then go in League One, going up against Southampton. So that was
Remember the Southampton team in League One?
Wow.
That was like Oxlade-Chamberlain, Lambert.
Lallana
and that, yeah. In League One.
Jose Font.
Yeah.
So I'm playing up front against them, and I walk back, as I like to do in games, just to see how hard the centre-half is. And I stood on his toe, and I heel on his toe. He just picked me up and went, that hurts. I was like, but he just steel-eyed me. He was like, that hurts. I was like, then I remember I was on about 1,200 quid.
Yeah.
He was on 12 grand.
Yeah.
I was like, there's levels.
Isn't it mad? I was just, I think when I made my debut, I might have been on 400 quid. And there's obviously people in the league on 500.
I was on 125 quid.
That's what I was
loaded.
I played 6.
No, to be fair, when you was first year pro, you was probably
When I first signed, that's what I was on. And I remember he said, right, there's a pro contract there. I rang all the lads, because when we was at...
what you on, lad? What you on?
Yeah, when we was at college, we was with some of the Bury lads, we was with some of the Oldham lads. So I was saying, what are you all on? And I was like, right, I went in, I was like, I'm not accepting that deal. He was like, who are you? And I was like, I want this, because I knew I had a better season than all of them. I was like, I've done this, giving them stats, that many goals. He's like, yeah, it's youth team, you're playing thingy football now. I was like, yeah, but I've played 10 games for I've scored 3 goals and stuff like that. And I was like, if I carry on going like that, who knows where I'm going to be? So he's like, there's 250. I was like,
yeah,
I'll take that right back to mum, yeah? Take it right back to her. I'd be like, Mish, don't worry about it. Food's on me. Yeah. And I used to walk to training.
Yeah.
Never got a bus. I'd always get a lift. Scarcity mindset, scavenger. That was me.
So, the move then, the Tranmere move, was that considered up, or was that considered the kind of...
No, it was up because they had bigger fans, which I love, and I only realised when I got there.
Massive club.
Big club,
massive
man.
club, yeah.
Is ASAP Rocky buying them?
Apparently so.
Really?
I'm Beyonce. No, not Beyonce. Rihanna. Rihanna? Is it Rihanna?
That's his partner, isn't it? But
Really,
Are they together? Yeah,
yeah they are.
I saw someone was winding me up the other day when
yeah, but I don't know whether they'd like it at Tranmere, but...
Birkenhead, the wheel's beautiful, man, when you start venturing
No,
out.
I don't mean that. Don't think they'd like it in there, would they?
Oh. Yeah, I know what he's saying. Saying, but,
I don't know if anyone knows what I'm saying, but I know
what you're saying.
They also have a mindset like they don't like Liverpool and don't like Everton.
Yeah.
Like, we're this side of the water. We're not Scousers.
Yeah.
They always correct you. Birkenhead. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right. And I remember going to, have you ever been to Cooley's? There's
Yeah,
a
I've
nightclub there. There was
No.
a nightclub there, and then Ian Goodison took me. Wow. Special place, man.
He's
Yeah,
a
we
funny
call
guy,
them
by
we
the
call
way.
them wolves, lad.
Yeah.
We call them wolves.
And woolly head.
Oh, woolly
Woolly
back.
backs.
Woolly backs, that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't know all of this, but I knew when I came, there was only me and another lad that was from Manchester.
Yeah.
So it was like, ooh, this is a numbers game. And survival of the fittest. They would chip up. I remember the first training session. Ian Goodison.
He used to
Bang.
just do that anyway.
Yeah, an elbow. I was
Elbow
like,
everyone.
I was like,
How old is he when you was there?
36, 37. He played
That's
about
a big
100
sense of half.
Yeah, dreads. He played about
yeah.
100 games for Jamaica.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what are you doing? Come on, Tomo, lad. He's got big Pumas on, just rifle me through my castle. Like, good, you've got a game tomorrow. And I'm going to be starting on the right. You won't be starting if you don't fix up. I'm like, okay. But there's loads of big characters
Was
in
there
that
a different
changes.
culture from Rochdale to Tranmere? Because
Yeah, we've gone from
was
a
it,
real team, it was clicky,
yeah. I can imagine,
individuals, egos. Don't get me wrong, get them on their own, special people.
Yeah.
Ronnie Moore just didn't have the blend, that sweet spot.
That was when I come on loan. It was.
Yeah,
it was.
yeah.
It
Did
was.
you play together
Toxic.
then, Tranmere?
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was. Yeah, it was. And
What?
then staff was people who shouldn't have been speaking was speaking, and players are getting put on a pedestal a little bit. It was just mad. It was a mad place, like. But I don't know. I feel like it's a club that goes up and down all the time anyway. So it didn't need to be as toxic. But
It's very much like most of them, though, isn't it? Northwest, they've only got a catchment area of so many. So when the good times are good, the fans are in. When they're not, people start looking at the wallets, going, "I could rather not do with losing 40, 50 quid on a weekend. It's not
It's
worth
a lot of
it."
money, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd never get that.
No.
It only dawned on me when I finished. I've never paid for a football ticket.
Same.
I will beg anybody. If I want to go to a game, I will beg. And I just say to him, play the long game, man. Something will come back for you from me, yeah? I'll be able to open up a door, yeah? Get me a ticket. I also need a ticket for him. And they're like, you said. I'm like, no, I need 4. So I got so much respect for football. Not even that, you're travelling.
Yeah, it's far.
I'm not knowing the outcome. Why are you going 7 hours down to Gillingham? Because I want to see my team win. Newsflash, they might not win. They might get battered. But respect to him.
In 2013, and while you was at Tranmere, you got first diagnosed with cancer.
Yep.
What were the symptoms? Like, how did that come about?
The symptoms were, so first season, they bought me for what was quite a substantial figure. The pressure was on me. Didn't do myself justice. Played okay, but I was feeling a little bit under the weather. And my firstborn came. So I was putting like all the tiredness, fatigue, and the swelling and the inflammation down to football and being a dad for the first time. So then the second season comes, I go away, and I only went away for a week. I remember going, Chantel, we're not going anywhere lavish, we're going to Portugal. We go do a week in Portugal with my mum, her dad. So I was like, and I'm just battering the gym. So I went away and I battered the gym for about 7 weeks, whatever off season is. Came back, I grew my hair. Do you remember my hair? The high top. I was like, I now want to stand out. So I love Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, yeah? What I've realised now, though, is I was trying to be Jazzy Jeff. I was trying to be Fresh Prince. I was trying to be Will. When really, I wanted to be Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil's got it all patterned.
Is Uncle Phil a dancer?
No, think about it.
The uncle?
He's the dad. He's the
He's
dad, the lawyer.
uncle of Will Smith.
He's the one with the big house, bro, that can bring in the little nephew.
Yeah.
And I was like, so yeah, I was trying to be Fresh Prince. I needed to start the season right, get myself on a pedestal. I started the first game and I scored 2, got man of the match. That was it then. But then the wheels fell off within about 10 games. So I played in a game against Crewe. Even that, I didn't realise how big of a rivalry that was.
Yeah.
So the game was like 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I was going in slow motion. And then someone got sent off. So you always drag Joe off. Because he's not going to be the best at defending for you when His positional play. Away with the fairies. And then it happened again the following week. We got another man sent off at Port Vale. But it all hit me when I sat down on the bench. I was like, about 12 minutes into this game, Danny Holmes gets sent off. I'm like, Joe, come off. I'm like, yeah, get me off. Get me on this bench.
That's when I come in, though.
Yeah. So I sat.
Holmesy got sent off, and then I come on.
I sat on the bench, 'cause that was your first game, yeah?
Crew away, yeah.
Yeah. So I sat on the bench, and I was like, whew, I bet you probably come on for me.
Potentially.
I bet you there's some sort of little high five, but I'm that much thinking, get me off this.
See, because I couldn't get the timings right in my head from obviously the first diagnosis, but now I actually think about...
We never really played together. We was in the same vicinity in regards to training.
Yeah.
But when you come in, I'm going out, because the following week, some lumps pop in the left-hand side of my neck. I then go speak to the club doctor, who's an absolute angel and a saint, and he says, you've got to go off. I was battering the gym, yeah? So I get this lump here, and I thought,
yeah, getting these gains.
Yo, this muscle here, anyone got one of these? So I'm start doing more on my right shoulder, and like, me and Max Power were like battering it. So I was like, Maxi, man, I'm coming. Like, we are taking off here. We ain't staying here for much longer. And then I go to the club doctor. He then sends me off on the Wirral to a private hospital. I have a biopsy. I wake up the next morning. Then 4 days after that, I'm due in for the follow-up. And I went with my wife, well, my girlfriend Chantal at the time, and I went with Lula, my firstborn. She's about 1 now, in the pram. And the guy went, Joe, sit down. So I was like, right, okay, he's going to tell me I've got glandular fever, some sort of infection.
Yeah, you're not expecting anything at all.
No, they mentioned cancer, but like, not me, professional football, invincible, all of that nonsense. And he said, you got cancer? I went, nah. I was like, check again. He was like, no, I'm telling you, you got cancer. So I looked to the left, looked to my right, pram, wife, they start crying, I start crying. Bravado comes up. I went, what have I got to do? He went, you're going to have to undergo 6 months worth of chemotherapy on a young oncology unit. For anybody that doesn't know what that is, that's with the kids. So I was like 23. But anybody under 23 can have a treatment at the same time. Anyone over, you go with the big boys. So I was like, okay. So 6 months, I do the maths. So this is October. I was like, I'll be back playing then. Get the back end of the season. He went, slow down. He said, you're not hearing me. I went, well, what? He's like, you've got cancer and you've probably had it for 3 years. I'm like, I remember looking and just going, I've been thinking my career's going like this, and I've literally been on a travelator. Like, everything has been so hard, and it all started to make so much sense. And he was like, you're having night sweats, you're having that, fatigue, brain fog. I was having like, sometimes I'd drive to training and have to pull over and be sick. And then get back in the car and then go and train. So I was ticking all the boxes. But it was almost like it's in a conflict. So even when I said to him, like stage 3S it was, I went, right, so chemotherapy. I'll be back playing then. He went, forget football, it's done.
But your first thought is to get back playing football, isn't it?
Football.
It's mad.
Mad. And he went, your life is hanging in the balance. And if we don't do something very soon, you know what that means. So I went in the car around my agent. It's the worst car journey in the world. Everyone was crying. Like, I just wanted to put my foot through the front screen and scream. And my wife's trying to be super composed. She was asking all the right questions in the interview, in the diagnosis. And and then it only really hit me when I went home. And I went home for about 2 weeks, didn't say anything. Then the club were like, right, you've been playing, you were flying, you had those 2 sendings off. People are starting to ask, where are you? And I was like, well, what do you want to do? And he was like, we're going to have to put a statement out. So we put a statement out. Then it came out on like the Thursday or the Friday. And I was sat at home when I should have been playing in a game. And I think they were playing away at somewhere like Preston or something like that. And I remember Jeff Stelling talking about it. And it was only when I saw my name on the yellow banner in like bold writing that it actually hit home what I was having to go through. And I was like, I always wanted my name to be on that yellow banner, scored a hat-trick, doing this, got to move there. Now I'm in the trenches. So yeah, it was brutal 6 months.
You know, the 3 years, obviously, say that you've potentially been living it for 3 years. Like, so how could you potentially get to a diagnosis earlier? Or how can you get through professional football for 3 years?
So this is it. So your body, when you're a professional footballer, your body's at a different level, yeah? It is. Your clothes fit you a little bit better. That's the way I explain it. I could give that to your average Joe. Your same outfit, your clothes fit a little bit. You're elite. You're trying to be a professional. So your body learns to adapt and fight. And if that cancer comes into somebody that's frail and old, telltale signs come way quicker. Yeah, the red light comes on and you start to struggle. So yeah, that's where you go.
Is it detrimental then?
In a weird way, yeah, but it's also your body's trying to adapt.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful thing, man. This is like a healing instrument if you're in tune with it all. So everyone always says, don't they? You know, everyone's got cancer.
Yeah.
But it tends to, there's some sort of triggering factor and stressor. You got to figure out what that is. What is the root cause to all of this? So I know, looking back now, my whole thing was, I'm not being myself. I'm not expressing myself, and I'm not playing at the level, or I'm not reaching my potential or my expectations, should I say. So with Hodgkin's lymphoma, they call it like a self-devaluation conflict. It's all to do with self-worth. It's a beautiful passage. It says you lose the will to live, or you don't have the taste of life anymore. And they're using the analogy of taste as in like the blood. So that's why it affects your bloods, because it's like a leukemia. And it's also your white platelets. So you feel defenseless. You feel helpless. And it manifests in its physical form. And yeah, that we can do all of that another day, but you can't tell me after 3 times of the same one, which they have done, you're unlucky. I was like, nah. Tell me cancer once, I'll go on the journey, yeah? Tell me cancer twice, I'll go on that journey. 3 times, you know the dance. Fool me once, fool me twice. Fool me 3 times, who's the idiot? So, yeah.
So you think something underlying triggers it?
Yeah, definitely.
So are you working hard trying to...
I know what triggered it.
You know what triggered it?
I know what triggered it.
Yeah.
But yeah, see, it's the game of life, but there's no finish line, is there? So I'm working through it. We've all got flaws. We've all got issues. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's got it boxed off. So actively working on it, yeah.
Did you get advice to stop playing football after your first?
Loads of times.
Yeah.
Loads. Didn't have anything else. So go full circle. Finish the treatment, get put into remission. Tranmere, then send a letter, 3-line letter to my house. I'm sat on the sofa with my little girl. My wife goes and picks it up. It literally lands in the front porch. She comes and she goes, "You never guess what?" I was like, "What?" She reads it. "Joe, thank you so much for your services. Unfortunately, you know, the last year it's been a bit of a write-off. This will be like your severance pay."
Well, so your contract was coming to an end.
So I thought they were going to give me 2 or 3 months to try and get back on my feet.
Yeah.
Not I'm expecting a year, but just give me the door. I've just been told I'm free. And then the letter comes. I was like, wow. So I remember that same night, I put my trainers back on and I just started pounding the roads.
That's when you said earlier, football doesn't owe you anything. That is a big slap in the face.
Yeah.
And you see
the ruthlessness to it. So here we go. Effectively, and you really strip it back and you can get all stoic with it. You're gladiators in the arena. You're entertainers. You're the product. And you've got to entertain all of these. But if you're not well enough to get out there, you ain't news to nobody. There's a financial issue as well. We're paying him whatever. I don't pay him to sit on a bench. I don't pay him to not be in the squad. I don't pay him to be at home.
Understandable, but you'd think there'd be some level of empathy then when you're...
There you go. Where's the compassion?
Yeah.
Or just even like maybe, obviously, Joe, we can't offer you a contract at this time, but willing to let you come back, train, get yourself back fit, see how your body is, see whether you can cope with the workload again. And obviously go from there. There's obviously things like that.
Because bearing in mind...
After what you've just been through.
Bear in mind you're playing with cancer for that club. Do you know what I mean?
I'm doing well, by the way. You're saying to Max at this time, we're going fucking on here.
Yeah.
You're feeling good at the time. Bear in mind, you're dealing with cancer.
I know. So, but this is one thing to rack your head around. They will always tell you, cancer is in us. It's just where if it turns on, yeah? So if it can turn on like that, guess what it can do?
Off.
Yeah, we just got to find the main switches. Right,
so,
rest.
You know, when you speak about switches then, you kind of went on a vegan diet, didn't you? That was on the second diagnosis.
Second diagnosis.
So was you doing anything other than the chemo then, in terms of like holistic things or anything like that? First time around, yeah.
I did a lot of juicing.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of juicing, and I was also going about 4 hours every week. I was driving down to a lady that does like alternative therapies. So there was like Reiki, and there was just various different things. So yeah.
Was you open-minded before this point? Like
a lot of it was
like this, or?
No, a lot of it was more my wife.
Okay.
She's always been like sourcing all the information, because when you're in the middle of it all, like it's very hard to see the light. So I like, if you're gonna bring something to the table when I'm here, I just need it in its simplest form. I then need to look at it and go, don't believe in it. Yeah, I'm having that. How can we make that happen? And then she would go and make it happen. So that is, yeah.
You know, the first time round, was it harder than the second time round?
Nah, adrenaline. Everything's new. You know, go back to fight or flight. So I also mentally was really struggling with the first time though, because young oncology unit, I would go in with these kids, and these kids knew that I played football. So they were looking at me like a bit of a beacon of hope. And it was a counsellor that clocked it. I would like go into the toilet before I start my chemotherapy, and I'd get all worked up. And then he pulled me one time, and then I'd go into the unit and be like, "Hi guys, how you doing?"
Being ready,
they'd go like, "How was your treatment?" 2-week block. I was like, you know what? Wasn't too bad. It was hell. Yeah. So he pulled me and he was like, "Stop trying to help everyone. I've seen that with my mum. Stop trying to help everyone. Put yourself in a cocoon." This was the analogy. It's beautiful. Keep going. Hibernate. Rest. And you'll fly again one day. I was like, oh, okay. So I did that, and I was in remission. But I always look back at these kids and be like, that could have been my child. So I could empathise with the parents. Some of these kids, 3, 4, 5, know nothing but pain and suffering. Yet they could still smile. So what have I got to? And it came to one point where I was like, I'm 23. I've got a beautiful daughter. I've met the woman of my dreams. I've played the game that I've loved. If it all ends tomorrow, yeah, is what it is.
But you didn't.
The next life.
It didn't.
No, it didn't.
You wanted to get back playing?
Yeah.
So talking about getting back playing then, you've obviously left Tranmere without a contract.
Yep.
No money coming in from football.
Beans on toast, bro.
Beans on toast, yeah. How was that time? And then obviously what it led to the return eventually.
So my agent was ringing around everyone. Nothing was coming back. Clearly ain't going to touch me with the barge pole because there's no guarantees. Yeah. So he then rang Dave Flitcroft at Bury. He was my assistant at Rochdale, but he's now the manager at Bury. So he says, just give him a week on trial. So I go on trial, and my agent's watching this training game, this 11v11. Ball gets pinged through. I run onto it. I chip the goalkeeper. Remember what I said to you about the goal?
Yeah. United.
On my trial.
Thing again.
It's like when I need to impress, and I'm going to do something that you've never thought of. So I've got a wicked goal, what I show on like my presentation. I show all these boring headers and all these tap-ins, And then there's one where I just chipped the goalkeeper against Exeter. And all the kids, when I'm doing presentations, are like, oh. And then I just shut it off. And I'm like, I'm not here to talk about football, though.
Yeah.
Well, I say, we're here. This is the university of life. We're going to work today. So forget that. That's a part of my life. Yes, but that's not your identity. Because when you ask a kid, they'll always go, I say, who are you? And they'll go, such and such, that plays for thingy. Or they'll go, I don't know. And I'm like, ooh, so if we don't know ourselves, ain't nobody here. Your manager's not going to know you. He's got his own life. He's got his own stresses. He's got his own kids. So if you know yourself, you know what drives you, you know your areas of weakness. Once you get there, now you liberate yourself, and that's a dangerous, dangerous man, that. That is Ronaldo. Nobody can tell him anything. And he can back it up with about 900 and odd goals. So we'll just stick to what I know, because I know myself. Away we go.
As you said, you went into Bury.
Yeah.
You ended up signing for them.
Signed.
But you was kind of, obviously, for people who don't know, Rochdale and Bury.
Yeah, that was bigger picture though. Everyone knew he's overcome cancer. So
surely everyone was proud.
So forget that rival. I think we even played in like a pre-season game, and I'm pretty sure I lifted my head up and I passed it to one of the Rochdale lads, and I was like,
sorry,
wrong
that was
team.
a few years ago.
Yeah. JK, do you want to pass it back? Like, he's like, what have you done? So yeah, it was bigger than that. And then what also happened was I played in an FA Cup game as a second half sub, and I changed the game within 20 minutes. We was getting beat by something like Maidstone or something like that. I came on and it was like 4-1 within 20 minutes. So then the manager got all giddy. He was like, you're going to play for me next week and all of this. Then I played about 4 games. I then broke down. So I was in the physio room. Then he sent me on loan to Wrexham, and I went to Southport as well. Non-league was an eye-opener for me. Eye-opener. I knew after those loans, I can't do that. You know John, is he called John Rutherford?
Yeah, they actually use that Wigan, I think, as a kid. Centre mid?
He's small, really good player though.
Good player, yeah.
So
This is going to sound mad. Has he got nice eyes?
No.
Yeah, little brown hair.
Yeah, we're talking about the same person.
Soft eyes.
No, it's Rutherford. It's not. I played with him at Southport myself.
Oh, he was at Southport.
He played for Wrexham.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it's not John though. I forget his name. I don't know why, because I travelled in with him.
Come on,
Paul.
Andrew.
Paul.
Yeah.
Rutherford, yeah.
Nice eyes, man.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about him.
No, nice eyes,
No,
though.
I'm not talking about him.
Right,
They're not the eyes I was talking about.
Right, so get on this, yeah? So I go into the changing room. I'm always early. I go into the changing room. I see this B&Q, like rig out on the thingy, and I see these boots underneath. Yeah? So go out to training. He runs rings around, loads of them. I then go in the gym. He's had a shower. He's in this B&Q gear. I said, where are you going? And he was like, double shift, man. I was like, I could not go anywhere near another workspace after that training session. He was like, got to do what I got to do.
Do you know, he was on a 0-hour contract at B&Q when I was there, but it was more for his mortgage. So eventually he was just wanting to have like a thing for his mortgage.
It was the biggest eye-opener for me. Even the balls, remember them balls?
Jackos.
Mad.
Shit, they were slippy as anything.
Hey, don't want to be on Astro with them.
No, they're very slippy.
Like, I remember a ball came into me, my touch just went ping, and I was like, no. That came off the surface far too fast. I was like, I could always cross the ball. But when I was with them, it's going up, it's going low. I was like, and then I played in a game, and it's like, vroom, vroom, vroom. All the centre half's heading. I was like, take it down, man. And he's going, no, get it away from me. And I'm like, it's football, not head ball. Use our feet. And he's like, pulls me at our time. He's like, you need to be doing more. I'm like, all right, cool, no problem. If anyone wants to get it out here to this wing, I'll be standing there and I'll try and cross it in for you to score. Yeah, get it. Just watch this game for 90 minutes. Like, I could never land on seconds. I was never really good at like anticipating things. Give me a football and let's play football. Let's go. But it was like, I kept on coming home. She's like, how have you done? I was like,
Didn't touch it.
Oh, it's like a hot potato in there, man. It was like murder ball. So I came back to Bury, and then I sat down with the manager, and he was like, "Did you tell me you was a spectator?" I was like, "Not far off, you know." The game was rubbish. No one ever like put the foot on the ball. Yeah, it was hard to get my head around. He was like, "Well, you're never going to play for me then." And
He's like that though, isn't he?
Yeah, no,
he's like that, so he can be that way or he can be that way really quickly.
I loved him at Rochdale because he'd always give me the arm around the shoulder.
Yeah.
He just got this bit wrong, and what I was realising as well, it's different when you're a manager. And I always say, some guys that come from playing, that are your mates, and then they go in the changing rooms, they change the numbers for the initials, get on that. It's like, tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be. And then they come out a different person.
Split.
Within 24 hours, you're like,
yeah.
where's my mate gone?
Yeah.
Why are you talking to me like that? Like, if you come on a level and you're honest with me, and that's what players want, isn't it? If I'm a player or am I not? Don't dance around the houses. No. Okay, I'm not playing. What have I got to do to get in your team? Give me some answers. Give me those answers. I'll go on a training pitch and train and play and work hard. And then once I do it, you better make sure you stand on your word, because nobody likes a hypocrite. Yeah? Can't talk it and not walk it. Simple as. So he comes in, he sits in a meeting with me, and he was clearly in the mood. There was a bit of pressure because we were flying originally, but you could feel like the wheels were falling off a little bit. They put a lot of money in, got a lot of good players. And he went, "You're letting your family down." I went, "Whoa, Dave." I didn't call him Flickers or Gaffer. I always do. If I say to somebody by their first name, I'm like, right, human level now. Forget all the titles. Forget this hierarchy, me and you. I said, "Whoa, Dave." He went, "Gaffer to you." I went, No, Dave. I said, "You don't want to do this." And I went, "Are you sure you want to go there?" He went, "Yeah, we'll go there." And I went, "Here's my chips, all in." And as I did that, the owner of the club came in. He was like, "Can I?" And I went, "In a minute." So he then shoots back off, like, and I know he's behind the door listening into it all. I went, "I'm doing what?" He was like, "You're letting your family down. You're letting your girls down. You're not putting it in." I went, No. I'm giving everything I've got every day. Don't get me wrong. I understand that I'm not at the level that some of these boys are, but they weren't where I was 6 months ago. So when I had the treatment, the first day of pre-season is the bleep test, yeah? I just said to myself, do not be the first one out. Do not be the second one out. He's the coward. He's the one looking over his shoulder.
Waiting for the first one to go out.
Waiting for the goalie or whoever. Yeah. And I finished middle of the pack. But it almost gave the manager false hope. It was all from mind, all from determination. I was sat on the physio bed after it. The physio looked at my quads and started rubbing them. And he's looking at me. I was like, "I know, mate. Me and you are going to have to be like that."
Yeah.
A guy called Nick Meese. He kicked on. He's now looking after Reece James because he had him at Wigan.
Oh, he was at Wigan.
Yeah. And he did a lot with Reece James. And
Big
Nick, amazing.
He was actually a good player as well, you know.
Yeah, it's bad injury.
Yeah, he's a good player.
And that's what sent him on his path in regards to understanding physiology and understanding the body. So I owe a lot to him. And everyone knows, like, we've done it. I know you had my back. You played the long game. I'll sort you out in due time. So he says you're letting your family down. Your girls, trigger. Like, no, don't go there. And I went, letting my family down. He said, "You know, the hardest day for me ever was when I got sacked by Barnsley in the Championship, and I had to go home to my boys and tell them I'm a failure." I mean, you went home with a massive pay packet as well. And I was like, it depends how you want to frame failure. Because to me, that's success. You give it your best. All right, you come up short, but you gave it your best. So forget the outcome. And I said, and now you're telling me that I'm letting my girls down. they know and can see what I'm doing at home. They know how early I'm getting up in the morning. They know the foam rolling, the baths, the ice bath. Said, you're just seeing a little snippet. And he was like, letting your family down. I was like, you don't want to go there. I said, you know what? We're done. He was like, yeah, we are done. I was like, no, we're done. So then he starts trying to make me come in with like 5, 6 o'clock at night with physios. So I sat down with the physio and he's like, you got to do this. I went, not doing that. I said, he's trying to break me.
How can a human, like a person,
He's
do
not.
that?
He's not though. He's very emotional.
So then the owner walks past, walks, got shut up. So
you're fully gone at this point.
Gone. I've just
You don't care.
thinking my
Give a
football
fuck
career.
about football anymore.
You can say whatever you want. You can tell that manager he's this. You can do all of that. So then go full circle. He starts trying to get me in. I only live 15 minutes away from the ground where we train. So it's nothing to me. I can get up early in the morning as well. So you can try and get me in the swimming pool at 6. Newsflash, I'm all for that. So then he says, right, gym session at 5 o'clock. The gym sessions make me laugh because I get what people are doing. They're trying to improve their body. But I always have a saying like, I don't care how big your muscles are. I don't care how big your chest is. What I actually want to know is how big your heart is. Yeah? So when you're at breaking point, let me see how deep you can go. So he's getting me doing these sessions. And I sat the physio down. I went, I'm not doing that one. Like, yesterday was bad enough. I'm not doing that one. He was like, well, what are you going to do? I was like, this is what we're going to do. You're going to sit down. I'm going to sit down. We're going to tell everybody that I've done the session. I'll get in the gym after as well, and I'll get a little bit of a sweat on. I'll then get a shower for any clever clogs that's watching. It might be caretaker. It might be... There's always eyes and ears. So we'll say we've done something. And he was like, so what are we doing now then? I was like, we should just sit down and have a chat. And we just did that for weeks. Then he sent me with the kids. You think I'm going to go down with the kids and not be a professional and not show them the right way? Got too much about me to do that. All the kids are buzzing. Yeah. And all the first team are laughing because they're like, how are you coming in with a smile? I was like, because it's not about the pounds. It's about the purpose. These kids are looking like, what does it take to get into the first team? I'm not going to badmouth him neither because you might get in and around that first team and I don't want my feelings, my beliefs on this man to affect you and your thoughts. Yeah. So let's just work on you. And I'd be the first on the session, ready, GPS, let's do all of that. And I'd be the last one on the training ground practicing all the free kicks, showing them this is where I go wrong, this is what I can't do. Like, so it was just raging. It was raging.
Yeah, I think it's disgusting, especially after what you've been through, but I think it's disgusting anyway that used to happen at football clubs where if you weren't in the manager's favours, they used to be able to just bomb you off and used to be called.
I was at home for 2 months at Southport. With Dino, Maria. He was it. It's honestly really, like, you talk about going personal. I remember one time he said to one of the centre backs, "You fucking cunt." This is what he said, like at half time, "You cunt. Your kids should be ashamed." And like, obviously, I don't know how he took it on the chin. Obviously,
it's one of them as well. One, we don't use the C word, but it's just toxic masculinity. Yeah. It's like literally
not necessary.
It's not allowed anymore anyway, the PFA.
Is it not?
Yeah, no, it's not allowed anymore. We had a meeting the other day again, and they just said there's
got to be some barrier, hasn't there? There's got to be some
on a human level, mate.
Human, HR, human resources. No, don't try that. But this is where football clubs are a little bit thingy, and people also think they're clever. Just because you get shouted at, don't mean you can go and run to somebody. Yeah. Think about what they're saying. They may have said it in the wrong way, but this is where like my stuff comes in, and they're like, I say, what's the problem? Is like, they've got no backbone, they've got no resilience. Can we teach it? Can it be taught? It can be, but it comes with a level of empathy, patience, compassion. You've got to understand the person before the player, understand his family dynamics, what's gone on. Let's explore some of the traumas, why he's like that. Like, everyone in football wants to be a part of the team. But even like the loudmouth that's an idiot, when he's not in the team, one bad apple
spreads. At that moment, obviously, you probably would have loved to have just walked away from your contract because how he was treating you.
So I rang Key Phil, and I was like, because it was his mate. I was like, your mate's lost the plot. And he was like, I know he's not listening to anyone at this moment in time, but find a place in your heart for him. And he said one thing that stuck with me, and it was brilliant. It's better to be in a job than out of a job. And what he meant by that was keep hold of that contract.
Yeah.
Because I was looking to rip it up.
Yeah. But you can't because you've got a family.
Yeah. So stay it patiently, 3 or 4 months. It's going to be tough. Ride the roller coaster ride, but be putting things in place. And where I look at it now, I kicked on to Carlisle. I did a year there. That's where I first met Keith Curl. Unbelievable guy. He brought me back to life. So the first day I rock up at this training ground, he rang me the night before and I played a 5-a-side with my mates. So I'll tell you about the 5-a-side in a sense. You've got Danny Simpson, you've got Fraser Campbell's, you've got Danny Drinkwaters, you've got Micah Richards at the time, Ishmael Millers. The 5-a-side
Great standard.
is not a 5-a-side yet. It's war.
Are you allowed to play against normal people in that league, or is it just play against each other eternally? Because that's
Go full circle.
Imagine turning up and all that teams there.
Go full circle. If you ever get in and around Stevie Island, we smashed the Power League after. So he's got Naden, he's got Jolien, all these mere mortals, I call them. They're like...
Do you know Joycey? Wade Joyce?
No.
Warren's his dad, he was at
Right,
he was at Man U 21s for years. Wade's my good mate, and he's in that league, and he said they got absolutely
everyone gets
Stephen Ireland's team 9-1 or
everyone
something.
gets slapped. Stevie Island's one of the best players I've ever played with. His kind of downfall was all up there, and he knows that. But some of the passes, some of the maneuvers that he's done, I've been like, how do you do that with your hip? Or how did you even see him? Ravel's the same. Ravel Morrison's exactly the same. It's like, wow, the game stops for him as well because people will press him, then you know you can't. Then everyone retreats and they just put their foot on the ball and it's like... It's like they're playing symphony. It's unbelievable and you're just a puppet and you just think, when you're with them and you're on their team, just run. Make the right runs, they'll find you.
That's all I do now. We'll just fucking run.
Just run. The good players will find you.
That's the footballers play.
Jason Kumas was like that at Tranmere. Unfit, all of that, coming back after being out in the abyss for 2 years. Run. I will find you. They get frustrated when you don't run. Yeah. And it's like a yard away from you and it's like, you could have just had a tap in. I don't think I'm not seeing you. It's coming your way. But yeah, everyone's got used to get smashed in 5-a-side. So then he rings me on the night and he just says this, Carlisle, 8:30 tomorrow. I was like, nah, mate. He was like, Carlisle, 8:30 tomorrow. I went, Keith, really, really appreciate the phone call. Can I come on Wednesday? He was like, no, pre-season starts tomorrow, Monday. He said, 8:30 tomorrow. He went, do you want to play professional football or not? Mrs. is looking at me like, what's going on there? I was like, I'll see you tomorrow at 8:30. Yeah. Straight in the ice bath. Chantal was like, what's going on? I was like, opportunity at Carlisle. She's like, it's 3 hours away. I was like, I know. Got any other ideas? She's like, no. So what time are you setting off? I was like, I'm getting up at 5:30. I'm getting there to the training ground. I'm going to set my alarm. I got there at 7:30. Sat in the finger like this. Set my alarm, shut my eyes. Next minute, Joe! Keith Curl pulls up alongside me. I'm like, whoa, go on then, mate. Get out of the car. He's just me. He's got a pair of shorts on. He's got a great tan. I don't know where he's been, but he's still he's levels, yeah. He's just done a 21-mile walk with me last week. He cruised it and went and played paddle in the afternoon. I'm piecing myself back together. Anyway, he pulls up a throw. Look at him. I'm looking at his trainers. You remember when there was all that thing? He had Yeezys on the touchline all the time. He can wear Yeezys, so I'm like, okay, love that. Shorts, tailored, all over that. Got this lovely little top. Body's and then I see him, he's just got silver grey hair, but he's got life in his eyes. I'm like, we're going to get on. We're going to get on. And he saw what he saw. He saw a young Keith Curl, but he also saw me scared to let the shackles go. But after 6 months it happened, everything started falling into place. Then it came to the end of the season at Carlisle. I was due to get married in Ibiza. So I was trying to stack as much money as possible because, boys, it's heavy gear. I've seen the wedding.
No,
salute to you.
Okay, now we'll have to touch on this because my
just
wife must have showed me your wedding video about 100 times.
I'll be
before we got
honest,
married, mate.
your wedding videographer, I spoke to him and he was too expensive after your video.
To get on this. So, no,
He
get
was.
on
He set him
this.
off.
This is brilliant. We're going to need some more batteries. So, get on this. He goes, this weasel turns up at my house straight out of uni. Yeah? So, let me just go back to the conversation with Keith Curl before we go there. Basically, he says, I can't offer you a deal doing that, like pointing up upstairs, because I can't guarantee you a place. He said, there is a deal there, 700, 800 quid. He said, but I know you're worth more than that. So I just pushed the deal back to him. I was like, you know what? Thank you so much for just being honest. We shook hands. I jumped in the car with the lads. There was like 5 of us that carpooled. I told him, we all just cried for 2 hours on the way down. And I was like, it's just coming to an end. Because when I was up at Carlisle, I would spend half the week there in an house. But everyone had kids, so everyone was tidy. Everyone knew how to cook. There was Nerf guns. We were like students, but like...
Adults.
Yeah. And Keith Curl used to come round, do an inspection. He was always wanting everything clean. He was like, the boys are on it here. So yeah, then the wedding. So I've got the wedding, no contract. I'm just going to Vegas. I have my stag do in Vegas. There's 10 of us. It goes off. It's made Hangover look like a PG. So I'm like, right, 2 days before my wedding, I come back from Vegas. I'm now getting married in Ibiza. I literally wash my clothes, grab my suit, and just get on a plane. I'm off. We do the dress rehearsal the night before, and I'm in this church, and I don't know any of the lines. I don't know where I'm getting married. I don't know where I'm staying. She's been doing it all while I've been up in Carlisle. I was just like, I don't know what's on the menu for food. I just go, So we do this dress rehearsal, and the vicar's saying his thing. I'm still like drunk. I never drink, but I did on my stag do, so I'm still drunk. I'm like, and then the vicar nudges me, and I go, I do. And my missus looks at me like, you better fix up. You better get to bed early, yeah? It's our big day tomorrow. So I don't even go to sleep. I start writing my speech and stuff like that. And I wake up the next morning. My mum gives me this wonderful watch, and I just roll into my wedding. You boys have seen the wedding video. This whole thing about trending and viral, that video just went off. But that videographer, that was his first gig. Yeah? This is how we go full circle. If he does the thing, you don't even see him at the wedding. He just asked for this drone shot. And I'm like, look at this weasel and his joypad there. He comes to my house about a week later, and I'm thinking, you said you needed 2 or 3 weeks to turn it round and edit it and all that. He gives me the USB, yeah? We ain't sending anything back then in 2016. He gives me it. I've told him 1 song that I want on it, but he's going to do it in 3 songs. He gives me the USB and he goes, there you go. I said, come in, mate. We'll put it in the computer. Let's see it and we'll talk. We'll tweak it. We won't tweak it. Just starts walking. He must have got the bus to me as well. He just starts walking down the lane. I was like, took the laptop, plugged it in. First song comes on, first visual. I was like, we were all watching it and I was like, wow. And then we had the conversation, do we share this? And then Chantel went, we do share this because here's 2 kids that have come from nothing, loads of trauma, loads of, tribulations. We need to give people hope. So I did it and it just went, pff. I had everyone asking me, I was like, speak to this kid. And I don't know what he was thinking, but he charged me about £500. He also wanted just the flight paying. And he came with this USB.
Yeah, it was considerably more than that. But he gave me someone good, and mine was good as well.
I've never seen him since, and he just built a business up from it.
Do you know what it is on that video? That bit.
The Drake bit.
Yeah. It's really good.
That we used to watch it every night for like months.
It's a good video.
We ended up getting married the night before ourselves. Wouldn't be surprised if it was from your video, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's just it's expensive.
Because you didn't have.
I didn't
have any input like Joe didn't.
Yeah.
Nah, but you had the white suit on though.
Nah, not white. She's nude, and she's neutral. So she's like everyone at the wedding was in neutrals.
I remember big table.
Yeah,
Amazing.
And
even when you're telling people like come and Ibiza, they're thinking Ushuaia, they're thinking play the boss. I'm like, no,
Ibiza's amazing.
This island's magical. Yeah. You need to tap into it. So I was telling everyone, and we did have one unbelievable night at, was it Hard Rock? Yeah, it went off. Yeah. But I knew that night, it was the night, like the last day. So we got married, and then people stayed. So we had a big villa, and they were like, I'm not leaving here. I was like, just crash there. There ain't beds outside. I was like, just bring your case, just sleep wherever you want. Naturally, some family went, so beds, opened up. Everyone ended up staying basically for like 10 days, 2 weeks. And I remember drinking my last drink, and I was like, I've got a picture on my phone, and it's amazing, but you should see how battered I am. It's not the same person. And I remember being in a taxi on the way to this last thing, and I was just seeing the lines. I'm thinking, this taxi driver's going far too fast for me. I then get out the taxi, I start spewing up in this bush, and I puked on a guy that's puking. Yeah? And I'm like, so sorry, geez. Go off for a pizza. They all get a table. There's this massive bottle. I'm like, I can't drink anymore. Cannot drink anymore. I ended up drinking vodka, which I've never done in my life. I was like, finished.
How many weeks before a pre-season was this then?
I don't have a club. I'm not going pre-season.
Yeah, but like if you was going off like the end of
3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah.
So this is brilliant. So my missus used to be in makeup and hairdressing. Yeah. We then go to a wedding the following week, yeah? And this girl pulls me and goes, I know you. I was like, go on. She was like, you was in Ibiza. You was smashed in the airport. I went, no, I wasn't. Like I'd reined it all back in. I was like, you what? She was like, you or someone like your brother. So my brother got a later flight, yeah? So I said, does he look like this? That was him. That was him. I said, what was he doing just out of interest? She said he'd put his bag on the floor, and when he was queuing up, he was just doing this. Just lay down, just push it with his head there, just like a snail.
That sounds like an IB for airport.
Yeah, like a snail. I was like, oh, that was my brother. He was in a world of pain. And she was laughing. She was saying, everyone's laughing at him. And he's just going like this. Leave me alone. I was like, Rubes, did this happen? He was like, yeah, man, I was in bits. But it was an unbelievable wedding.
After that then, so you've obviously had an amazing time. Mm-hmm. You come back home. Are you looking to get a club at this point then?
Yeah, so Keith Hill rings me. I'm in Nando's, and he can hear all the hustle and bustle in the background. He was like, where are you? I was like, I'm in Nando's. He went, you won't be going there too many times if you carry on going how you're going. I was like, what are you trying to say? He was like, money's running out fast, right? I went, oh, yeah. He said, wedding was nice, though, pushing all the buttons. I went...
Just lining you up for the contract, was he?
Lining me up. The treat, he was like... Those nappies are expensive. I went, Keith, he went, I'll see you tomorrow, yeah? He said, are you living a footballer's life or are you being a footballer? And he went, keyword being. I was like, wow, I'll see you tomorrow. So I turned up, trial, signed within 10 days. You can see the fires in my eyes, but he gave me a contract. And this is where he got cheeky with me. He was like, right, there's your deal. 400 quid. I went, Keith.
That isn't going to work, Keith.
Keith, it's missing a one. And he was like, it's not. He went, I want to see how hungry you are. I went, hungry? We were all going hungry here.
We'd be starving.
Beans on toast, I said to him. He went, choice is yours. So I got in the car. I was like, let me go speak to the boss. Rang my agent. My agent, where are you going? I was like, I'm going home. He was like, turn that car back around and sign that deal. So I was like, yeah, whatever. I then rang Chantel and I went, Chan, he's offered us 400 quid here. 400 quid. She was like, the mortgages. I went, I know. fully aware of this. Turn that car back around, she said, and go sign it.
This year.
So 1,600 quid is better than nothing. We'll make it work. And then when I came back and he's in his chair laughing and he went, there's the pen. I've been waiting for you. So I was like, and he went, it's time to dance with the devil. I was like, I don't play nobody's tune, Keith. He was like, you will do. And once you play how I want you to play, you'll have a new deal in 6 weeks' time. So that happened. I fly in, hungry, thinking these guys need feeding. New deal was on the table. So I signed a new deal, been like something like October time. And then I got diagnosed for the second time on Christmas Eve. So I went for a follow-up scan, 3 years on.
No symptoms, just a follow-up
No
scan?
symptoms. Fly in, we're like good. Third in the league. We've just come off we beat Scunthorpe. We then went to Newcastle.
Yeah.
We're doing the Saturday, Sunday, fancy dress. I ain't playing the fancy dress game. I'm going on the Sunday because I've got an appointment early on Monday morning at the hospital. So I'll see you all on Tuesday. I then get told what I get told on Monday afternoon, and then I go into the training ground the following day after lads have left. And I'm watching them. I'm in the far end of the car park, and all of them they're all saying, wow, the gaffer's been this to us today. Da, da, da. Bear in mind, he's the only one that knows, and his assistant. And I walked in, I started crying. I was like, Keith, you can't take it out on the lads. Like, yeah, I've just got a path to walk. So he went, you're in my team on Boxing Day. So this was like, I've got 24, 48 hours to turn it around. I've got Christmas Day to turn it around. He said, get the elephant out the room, i.e. at Christmas with your family, and I'll see you at 9 o'clock. We're playing Walsall away. I was like, yeah, okay. But in my mind, I'm like, I can't play with cancer. So the second diagnosis, I've got one little tumour there, one tumour near my heart. So I said to the doctor, we'll just take it out. And he was like, no, we can't do that. It's too close to your heart. We might end up painting the room red. I think you know what that means. I was like, right, all right. What have I got to do? So you're going to have chemotherapy for like X amount of cycles. And then we're going to do a stem cell transplant. But what they wanted to do is do a wait and see period. So I played footy for about 4 months until the March. Then it came to a head at MK Dons. I got an infection. And Hendo will vouch for you. It was horrible that day. Someone zinged the ball, an absolute daisy cutter to me. I put my foot up and it just like went underneath my foot. And I was like, I've been here before. Tranmere. Game's going super fast. This is disgusting. Then after the game, I go into the changing rooms. I'm being violently sick. I don't shake anybody's hand. 2-2, yeah, whatever. All the lads start coming in. And I can hear like the studs on the changing room floor. Like, fucking hell, lads. Like, we should have kept that. And then they can all hear me being violently sick. And it all goes quiet. Everybody in house knows where I'm at. So they all know now your race is run, basically. And yeah, I had to go off and do all that treatment and have a stem cell transplant. I have 2 rounds of chemotherapy, 6 days solid, back to back, 24 hours. So that then means I had about 10 minutes on a night time to go get a shower, go brush my teeth, then they need to hook me back up to the machine. 6 days pass, I do that. I then go for another cycle. In the middle of this chemotherapy, a big fire breaks out at the Christie's Hospital in the research department. I'm on the same floor and the fire is coming this way. Fire engines and all that are outside. The nurse says to me, you're the only one that's still hooked up to a machine because you're on 24 hours. Said, if the fire keeps coming this way, we'll put you in that lift and it's fireproof. And I was like, the wires come out, my trainers are there. I ain't going in no lift. I said, I know exactly where the stairs are. So anyway, long and short of it, the fire kept on coming, but they put it out.
Before it got to you.
I'm the only muggins that's still hooked up through a cannula. I was thinking, second one, I had it in my chest. Yeah. So I was like, I'll just rip it out. Like, I don't care. I'm not burning. I'm going through all of this to flipping go down in a fire. So then they say, I then went away they say, go home, rest. Stem cell transplant is in like 4 or 5 weeks. Your platelets need to come up. So I go away. The doctor rings me when I'm in Spain. I don't go too far. And he rings me and I got this no caller ID. I know what that meant. So I was like, hello. Called the doctor by his first name. What can I do for you? He's like, where are you, Joe? I was like, I'm in Spain. He was like, please tell me you drove there. I went, no. He's like, you did not get on a plane. You know, that's breeding ground for germs and stuff like this. I'm looking at your results and your platelets. I'm like, I know, but I'm here. So I made it. Yeah. Feeling good as well. Got sun on my back. And he was like, you got to look after yourself. Drive back. I was like, no. Flight's in 2 days' time. I'll be at the hospital for the stem cell. So stem cell, they say you'll be in there for 6 to 8 weeks. Let's do it now. Let's lock that door. Let's lock this door. Yeah, you're going to get food. Food's going to come to you. Never mind chemo. Let's just forget that you're going to have any of that in here. Can feel it already. It's
intense.
The walls start talking to you. Oh, by the way, you're only allowed 5 visitors. Write their names down. So I wrote my mum, my brother, my wife, my auntie, and I left the last one. I left it free. I knew who I was going to need. So after 10 days, doctors come in and like, they give you the worst chemo for the first 7 days. Then it's like, wait and see. And you might be in here for another 7 to 8 weeks, maybe even longer. So you just start looking at the handle of the door and it's like driving you insane to think, I'm coming out of here at some point. I'm either walking out or I'm dying in here. So 10 days come, I wake up and it's my wedding anniversary. We got married in Ibiza, yeah, the summer before. So she comes and she's got a pair of trainers. Know your vices, fellas, yeah? My trainer thing and my collection is crazy. It's obscene. It's ridiculous. It's excessive. It's all born out of ego, but there's a message. I don't play around with Adidas trainers. Just do it. Jordans for days, Flight Club, watch the film, you love it. So she brings these trainers in and she said, I've got a present for you. I start crying because I've totally forgot. There's a massive heart balloon as well saying the Thompsons, Team Thompsons. And I was like, wow. So we sit in this poxy little bed watching the TV. I don't really watch TV, so Love Island comes on when it's like, well, everyone still watches it now, don't they? And I'm like, and I got all these young couples telling each other they love each other to get from one villa into the other. And I'm like, here we are, Chantel, through sickness and health. Yeah, through good times and bad. And I got the remote and I launched it at the TV. She was like, calm down. I went, nah. We knew what we did at the end of that altar. It was special. You talked about the video. You can see it. It's captured. We don't deserve to be here. We're good people. And I was saying, why us? Why us? And she went, why not us? She said, we ain't no better than anyone. Yes, we're doing our best, but why us? Why us? Why us though? Why not us? So we go back and forth for a little bit and I said, right, this is what's going to happen. Tomorrow, yeah, you tell Lula, my eldest, she's coming in. You give her 2 days, Father's Day's coming. I know she's made a card at school. She's not seen me. FaceTime ain't cutting it. She's worried, all of that. So she rings me the following morning and she says, she's wet the bed. I went, 6, nearly 7. She wet the bed. I went, she's coming in tomorrow. Next day she comes in. I've noticed a little grey hair. When I was putting her to bed, I've noticed a little grey hair's popped in her head. Dad, like, yeah, here we go, fellas. So I'm like, she's coming in tomorrow. She said, you make sure you're presentable. I went, presentable? I can't even get out of this bed. She said, just change your vest then. So I changed my vest. I was stinking. I'm bedbound. I can't even go to the toilet. I'm having nurses help me do the wheeze and all of that. And so she comes in. No one's told me that I've lost all my hair at the back of my head as well. So I realised it as she comes in. I'm like this, trying to peacocking, trying to be like that. And she goes, Dad, I've got you some grapes. I've got you this card. She did the stethoscope, little Doc McStuffins. Boom, boom, boom. It's still beating. I was like, yeah, it's still beating. She then puts a card on my shoulder there, and she's made it with her own little hands, and the hands that we've made, yeah? So she comes around the bed and goes, oh, yeah. I'm looking at my wife saying, presentable. Chantel's the hairdresser. Why did you not come with some clippers and take this off however many days ago when it all started molting and shedding and falling out? So I was like, what do you mean my hair? So feel it. And she was like, Dad, I've got a question for you. I was like, shoot. She went, are you going to die? What do you tell a 6-year-old? On your deathbed, which this quite possibly could be, what do you tell a 6-year-old? Dad, are you going to die? All you can do with these kids is be honest. Yeah? Tell them. So I said, I don't know. And she was like, wanting more. I was like, but one thing I'm going to say to you is that Daddy's going to do his best. And she went, your best is going to be good enough. I'll see you in a few days. Leaves. I cried. And then it came to me in the night time. I went, right, in order for this to change, you've got to change. What are you going to do? So I set my alarm. So when I set my alarm, and we talked about it when we walk in, I wake up about 2 minutes before my alarm clock goes off. My circadian rhythm knows what time I'm going to bed, knows what time I'm waking up. So I veered off it. I'm feeling sorry. I'm the victim. So I set my alarm and I said, you get out the bed tomorrow. I even went like this. Through the phone. Just out of my reach out of the bed. So I can't even do that. I like threw it there. Went to sleep. The alarm went off. I probably had about 4 hours sleep. The alarm went off. I was looking at it and I like just rolled out of the bed and like crawled to the phone and went, turned it off. Then I went back in the bed. I was like, right. And have you ever read the book Atomic Habits?
Yeah.
So you understand, you make it small, yeah, and you build from it. So the next thing was get yourself back in the bed. Can you get to the bathroom? Can you have a shower? So I had a shower. It felt like the rain from the shower felt like Mike Tyson was just rifling me in the back. I was like this. I was like Gollum, Schmeagol, all of that. I was curled up in the corner, naked, 9 stone. I'd lost 3 stone in 16, 17 days. No hair, no eyebrows, dignity, identity stripped. I looked at myself in the mirror. I was like, wow. But I looked myself dead in the eye and was like, the fire's back though. We're working. Forget all of this. We're working. So I get back in. My wife comes in and goes, you've had a shower? I'm like, oh yeah. Where's the clippers? She gets the clippers, takes any of the fluffy stuff off. And I'm like, right, here we go, ready for war. I'm always violently sick with chemo. It comes in, my body's just like, nah, rejects it. And I'm like, right, brilliant. Get in the system as fast as possible. Let's drink a load of water. Let's get it out. If you decide to do that, get it in and get it out. Flush it fast as. Damage limitation. So I'm there and I'm like, right, let me try and keep a bit of food down. So I had a grape, a little grape. Grape went down. 3 minutes later, grape comes out. I was like, phew. An hour passed. Doctor comes in. He's looking at my food. He's looking at the food, and this is where the plant-based stuff comes in. He's going, I'm like, what's up? He's like, nah, I'm just looking at your rabbit food. I went, out you go. Comes in an hour later. I said, what's up? He said, your bloods have started going through the roof. So they were all on 0. I called a meeting, what I say at the top table, with the king, the queen, the princess. Yeah? Big meeting, honest meeting. So she comes in, she says what she says, she leaves. Brought me back to life. Know my why, know what all the suffering's about. Number 1 job, go be a dad. So forget all of this and this story, this narrative that you're going to not be able to overcome it. Go out. So all my bloods at that point, 0. They've got all the stuff. I don't need them. Fum, 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 fum. Doctor comes in about 8 o'clock on an evening. He says, you can go home tonight. Nick Meese, come and see me. He drove up from Portsmouth, where he was under cookie there. He come and see me. He's like, my wife's got a gift for you. I've got a gift for you. I said, you can come in. I don't care what the doctors say about what list. You drive up, you come and see me, and if he will vouch for me. I clutch for the bed, and I shit it. You can go home tomorrow. I'm like, no, not ready for this. Like, big bad world. No, not ready for it. He goes, if your bloods are all right tomorrow, we'll sort your medication out. You can go home. So I woke up the next morning and it came to me a realization. So about 3 or 4 days before, when I went under, the alarm went off. So all of these rooms are like there. There's about 10 that side, about 10 that side, all in isolation. I call them like bunkers. All the soldiers are in the trenches. Yeah, all got different stories, different reasons, but they're fighting for their life. So I then realized that there's somebody waiting to get in here for this life-saving opportunity. And if they believe in it, it will work. So I get my big boy pants on. Lula and Chantel come. I should have been wheelchaired out of there. No chance my little girl no chance she's seen me get wheelchaired out, and she's definitely not pushing me. This ain't a circus. This ain't funny. So I muster up the strength to walk out. It was like a marathon. Bear in mind when you're in a hospital, all the floors are flat, yeah, because the beds need to go, the wheelchairs need to go. There's no up and down. There is stairs, but there's always a lift next to it. So we go down in the lift, we walk, and it's like the Green Mile for me. I'm like trudging. I've got this balloon that they brought in, the Thompsons. That's like almost keeping me going that side. And the amount of pressure I put on my daughter's shoulder was unbelievable. She's looking at me, but she's like hoisting me like up, like, come on, we've got this. My missus is behind me like this with a case, thinking he's going to drop here. I then get outside, I've got my hood up, and I got a full-on tracksuit. I never wear tracksuit. If you see me in a tracksuit, you know I'm struggling. So I'm in a tracksuit, and the rain comes in Manchester, as it always does. And a rain came down, and a teardrop, it joined my teardrop. And I remember catching it. And I was like, wow. Here we go again. And then I come off the curb, ping, my calf went. I was like, ooh, football, million miles away. Just go home, rest up, let's see how you get on. I still had a contract at Rochdale. They're all ringing me, asking me, how you doing? It took me about 3 or 4 weeks. I then went in. I have not listened to what Hendo said, but I know what happened on the day. So I come in, no hair still, weak. The kit man gives me a large. I was like, Jack, I'm not a large anymore, mate. Just pass me a medium. This is like soul destroying. Physio's like, what are we going to do? I said, I just want to go and see the lads. Where are they? They're all in the gym doing a recovery session. I walk in, the whole of the gym's looking at me like I'm a freak. And then I see all the boys. And Hendo makes a beeline for me. He's gone and got these 2 little pink dumbbells, like 2 kgs, and was like, fucking hell, JT, we got work to do, mate. I went, it starts now. And all the lads start laughing. Just the perfect icebreaker. I
was going to say, for knowing you and the type of positivity that you encourage, I think...
We can do the stories whenever, but for now, Lovely to see you all. I'm back, baby. I've got a wonderful picture. Me, the manager, Calvin Andrews and Jim McNulty. You've never seen smiles like it. We are laughing. So there was a period where I'm on my own. I'm getting back. At first, it was sometimes I'd just turn up at the training ground. I couldn't even drive, so one of the lads was driving me. Physio would say, we'll just go for a walk. Let's just see how far we can go. We'd maybe do a lap around the stadium, and then I'd chill out. I'd crack jokes. I'd help people with the food and all of that. They're all laughing at me as well because I'm still on the plant-based. You can't put muscle mass on now. Like, you just watch me. Yeah, we're going places here. And then I train on my own. First time I put boots on for like a year. Go back to being Bambi on ice. Debut. Thinking, these are way uncomfortable. Like studs felt like stilts. Then they want me passing it. My groins start like, whoa, what's going on here? Then I'm just chipping it. Quads start going, whoa, what's going on here? Then they want me to start smashing it. I'm like, my rec fem's going here, you know, that's enough. The physical conditioning coach was unbelievable with me. He knew where to take me to, and then he would like, that's it. He's got all the like the data stuff on his finger, and he's watching it. And he's going, you got one more in you? And I'm like, no, I haven't. He was like, you have. So we do the one more, and he'd be like, right, go do the recovery side. And then there was a bit of a time where I was in and around the team, but I'm getting 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and it's getting to the end of the season, and we're doing really shit here in the league. We do really well in the FA Cup. So that's where I come on as a second-half substitute against Tottenham in a replay. Manager tells me I'm going on, it's 1-1 at half-time. I warm up inside because it's like -5. I come out, I look up at the scoreboard, it's 4-1 to Tottenham. I've not heard any cheers. 40, 50,000 in Wembley at the time. I was like, something wrong with the scoreboard. Sat down, I was like, right, so we're in the game, yeah, 1-1. Calv went, nah, mate. They've gone through the gears. Son, Dele Alli, Harry Kane, just slapped us to pieces. I was like, so it's 4-1. And as I pointed up, it went 5-1. The manager went, Joe, you going on? I was like, -5, getting slapped 5-1. Looking at these like youth team players on the bench, he was like, you're going on. Go run around and be a big kid again. I went, it's the only time I've ever worn gloves. And my doctor rang me the morning of. He was like, please tell me you're not in that squad for the game. I was like, I am. I said, I'll wear long sleeves and I'll put some gloves on. But if I get an opportunity, I'm going running on there. I've got an unbelievable picture. I'm running on, it's snow. But I was just thinking Game of Thrones. Yeah. Here we go, White Walkers. That's what the Tottenham team were like. Didn't get anywhere near him. First thing I did is I crossed the ball, whipped it in. I landed, Danny Rose smashed me. It landed, it was late. My shoulder went like that and it popped out. It was after about 3 minutes. I was like, no. I know because it's on the TV and the replay, the first game was on TV. I was like, no. I can't run on the pitch after all this. 3 minutes later, just do a Yui and run off. Like, it can't be done. So I played on for about 20 minutes. I'm in agony. After it, all the cameras and all that are waiting for me. I go down this little jib and get on the coach. I'm in a sling like this. So I'm thinking we've got 3 months left of the season. This is it, done. Like, go the next day, they say 6 weeks. So it meant I was in the gym for 6 weeks. I was always on my own. But where we was training with like a rugby team as well. So they kept me going in the gym. They do things differently. They do the gym session. So I'm doing a gym session on my own. All the lads are going out. Then when I get back, the gaffer says I'm only training either once or twice a week. And it usually meant I'd train Thursday. And when he saw what he needed to see, he pulled me out and he said, right, you're on the bench. Gets to the last day of the season. We are in the relegation zone. The local rivals, Oldham, it's either us or Oldham go down. And he puts me on the bench. He told me that I would play this game or play a part in the game is what he actually said. So I was like, why am I on the bench? And on the way in, I was with my daughter. And you seen The Greatest Showman? This is the greatest show. She's playing it, and I'm listening. Scars, bruises. I said, turn this up. Turn it up. So she ramps it up. We wind the windows down. She's screaming at. I said, where have you heard this? She said, like, they were showing me at school in assembly, and I'm listening to it. And I get into the change room. I totally forgot there's all cameras there. It's all set up for us to go down. We're playing Charlton. They're like in the playoffs. Oldham are playing Northampton. It's all set up for us to go down. Before the game, I do my little 10-minute warm-up and I run in. And I go and sit on the toilet and I put this song on again. I just listen to this song. And one of the things I did do in the hospital, the only thing I ever watched was I got the video analysis guy to clip up loads of my stuff in the final third. Visualization, yeah. Consciously not doing it, but yeah, somewhere along the lines there's a message in there. And I'm just watching all these little bits with this tune. And then I'm hearing, let me on the toilet. I'm like, go on the other one. Come on, JT, get out of there. I'm like, go on the other toilet. There's other toilets there. Go find one. I'm in my zone. So then he tells me I'm on the bench. I sit there for 60 minutes. He's going, are you not going to warm up? I'm like, nah, I don't want to exert any energy, do I? You know, throwing what he's saying back in my face. He's like, and then he goes, go warm up 5 minutes. You're going on. 0-0. Go warm up. It's the slowest warm up I've ever done. I'm just scanning the pitch. I'm like, here we go. The green stage awaits. Go on. 4 minutes later, right onto my left. I never use my left foot. But when I've watched all these clips from training and in games, I've got a carbon copy with Tranmere Rovers, but I've got a little high top, whereas now I'm sporting the waves, I'm giving it all that. Drops to me, right, left, bang, slow motion. Guess who the goalkeeper is? Ben Amos.
Played at him.
As soon as it hits the back of the net, I go, you seen that before? Wheel off. All went quiet. Still. You watch the thing, I'm like soaring through the sky. And the funny thing is there's been memes and stuff like that made. They put Titanic soundtrack to it. That was what was happening. And then, never heard a sound like that from Rochdale Stadium. I know people heard it from further afield. Forget that it's on TV. So the TV and all the cameras are all set up there. The game finishes, and Joe Rafferty comes up to me and was like, God's plan. I'm like, oh yeah, this has all been planned.
So got shivers then?
Yeah. So it's the back of the net, do all of that. Oldham is still playing. They obviously know, everyone's on the radios. We've won. They're 2-2. I'm sat in the tunnel watching the game. I was like, they're not scoring. Everyone's like panicking. I was like, they are not scoring. This is how it's destined to be. This is how it's written. They're looking at me like, why are you? I was like, I knew when that ball hit the back of the net, that's the storyline. All along, I'm writing the book alongside this. So it's the back of the net. Everyone goes wild. My phone goes off. I don't sleep for 3 days. Can't sleep. Try and sleep. Can't sleep. Wired. All the dust settles. And I then go back to the book and the author, the co-writer, Alex Fenn, and he goes, wow. I was like, that's the ending. He went, it's not. I went, what's the ending then? He's like, you got to go see your dad. He said, I've sat with you for 18 months. I've listened to the story. I've watched it all unfold. There's some healing that needs to go on there. I was like, nah, I don't need to see my dad. In the meantime, in the interim, I sit down with the manager and the owner. The manager says to me, go and speak to the owners. I was like, I'm having a new deal. My contract's up. I'm having a new deal. He's like, just go and speak to the owners. He was like, don't even tell me what you're going to say. So I went to the owner and he was like, hiya, Joe. What can I do for you? I went, new deal. New deal. He went, but you've only played, and they had all my minutes. There's like 10 games and they had all my minutes. I was like, only takes 1 second. He said, yeah. Prior to Saturday, everything's going to pot. After Saturday, yeah, everyone's getting fed. And he went, I went, yeah, think about it. I don't need to, you've got my minutes there. I don't need to work out what that might do for the club, but we're talking millions. So I'm just asking for, I doubled my wage. He went, you can't have that. I said something like 100 grand for the next year. He went, you can't have that. And he went, let me just go to the board. So he went to the board. They came back with like 500 quid. I went, tell you what I'll do. Just call it £1,000 a week. Yeah? I know that I just need £1,000, 50 grand. Start being, this is chess now, strategical. Start doing the media. I've got the book. What else is going on? I'm doing stuff for MUTV. Public speaking. My first gig was for Man City. Like, I know I'm at the exit, crossroads, but I need 12 months. Then play the first game of the following season. My hamstring pings off. 10 centimetre, 11 centimetre tear. Now I listen to the doctors. Right, Joe, don't think you should be playing. Got to remember, my cancer was cancer of my lymphatic system, so your repair cells. So when you're tearing muscle fibres, there's not really much to obviously sort you out. So that is that with football.
So did you sign the contract and then?
I signed the contract, but I knew I was only going to get the next year, because the passion had gone. My eye and my intention and my attention had started going elsewhere. And I knew as well, I played 11 games in the end. I knew if I played over 12, the PFA wouldn't pay their retirement 25 grand as well. So yeah, it's just all divine timing.
I just want to touch on, obviously we've skipped past a few things there that we just talk like it was nothing, but that's just a testament of you. Like, to come back from twice cancer to play against Tottenham. I know you were sitting on the bench saying it was 4-1, 5-1, but you're playing against Tottenham in the FA Cup after coming back from cancer twice.
Yeah.
You've come on and scored to help a football club stay in a football league. The reason why everyone is like looks up to you and your inspiration is because of your mindset. Mm-hmm. After everything that you've been through, you're still a positive person. And I just want to read out a quote that you've said.
Go on, where did I go with this?
This is after the second time you come back. You said, I'm 99% sure it's not coming back. But then if it does, I've got over it before, so I can get over it again. I'm not scared. I look forward to life.
I was scared. That's bravado right there.
Yeah.
Biggest fear of my life. But go on, keep going.
I'm not scared. I look forward to life. I've got aspirations.
Yep.
This game is all about winning. And what I've been through has taught me that I've got the tools, not only to win a few football matches, but to win the game of life.
Yeah, man.
And obviously, what you've come through, football is totally irrelevant.
It's significant.
It's absolutely
irrelevant.
Chapter.
I said it with the third time. And it took me a bit of time to get some clarity here, because when I got diagnosed for the third time, stage 4, so I'd never been to stage 4. I'd been 3S, it'd been pretty bad. Stage 4, oh, by the way, it's also on your lungs. So your lungs, which we were talking about before, is like your breathing mechanism, you know. So when I was diagnosed, they also told me I got a 1.5 kg mass alone on my right lung, putting pressure on me. So every time I went to sleep, I couldn't finish a sentence. So I remember doing an interview when I decided I was going to put it out with United, and I never wanted to be known as a great footballer. I've always wanted to be known as a great man. Yeah. Like, this for me is a legacy piece. So if I go tomorrow, I know my kids can go, my dad was a great man. And people will remind them as their life goes on, your dad did this, your dad was that. And I also know they know all of your dad is within you. So you can do whatever you want if you put your mind to it. So that's where it's like, even like when I look at my idols, you could ask me about certain players, they weren't my idols. I'm talking Chadwick Boseman. I'm talking Denzel Washington. I'm talking Malcolm X's. Like, I'm talking depth that went beyond the narrative of a sportsman. Yeah, he's from a council estate. You know, he's athletic, gifted. Like, yeah. So when I finished, one of the things that I really wanted to do was start a uni degree. So I did a master's, and I started the master's, and in the middle of the master's degree, when I was nearing the end of the big dissertation, we found out that we was pregnant. So we went on the whole IVF journey. We even went away to Spain, and then we found out we was pregnant. But we also knew that there might be something wrong with this little boy. So there everyone was saying about maybe doing an abortion or doing what's what. It might be Down syndrome. My wife said, it's going to change nothing. When he comes, we will deal with whatever it comes with. We will adjust our life, even if we have to move house. Yes, it might be really difficult for Lula, but I'm not taking the life of this little boy away. So I was like, right, okay. That was really tough to like listen, but I can only support now. So 2 days away from his due date, my wife says, I'm going into hospital. I said, why? She said, something just don't feel right. Okay, COVID times, partners aren't allowed in. So she goes on her own. Half an hour later, the phone rings. I'm in the car. I'm in the car, and never, ever, 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 ever been suicidal, ever. Rings, and it's a nurse. She said, hi, is that Joe? I said, yeah. And then my wife screams out behind me, saying he's gone. And I could have driven the car into the roundabout, but I had my little girl in the back. So I go full circle around the roundabout. I drop Lula off at Anand's, and then I go up to the hospital. And they say to me, right, she's, baby boy's gone. He's obviously still inside. You guys have got to go home, and in the next 24 hours, we'll give you a tablet, and you will, you'll give birth to him. So I was like, whoa, this is heavy, this. Like, I'm not built for this. Then we go back to the hospital. She then gets in the birthing pool, and she has him, and she does it with ease, with dignity, with class, with elegance, vulnerable, with strength. And I'm watching it all, and I'm like, wow. And then he comes. He's everything that I knew he was going to be. We were calling him Dre, Phoenix. And here we are, born out of the ashes. So, remember I told you that we can't have kids. I then ring my child, my eldest, and say, your brother's here. She said, I'm on the way. 10. I said, what do you mean you're on the way? Me and Nanny are on the way to the hospital. I'm looking at this little baby boy. I put a hat on him. You know, things aren't looking great. I'm wiping all this blood. And then she holds him. She comes in, she bursts into the room. She holds him. And he starts rocking him, and she goes, he's beautiful. He's everything. And a tear drops from her to his head. I run off to the toilet. Start being sick. I'm like, my wife then like kind of has a dizzy spell, and she like kind of passes out, and she stares sat there going, he's beautiful, he's beautiful. We stay with him in the hospital for a few days, and then he ends up, you know, in the morgue, and we then set up the funeral, and me and my daughter write a poem, and she says, I'm going to read this out at his funeral. So do you know Dean Holden?
Yeah.
So you know Dean,
Yeah,
CC, yeah?
Yeah, I played with them.
So I played with Dean at Rochdale, and when we was at Rochdale, he lost his little baby girl. I was at that funeral, and it was the hardest thing. The church was massive. It was filled with people as well. It was the hardest thing I've ever seen. And he will tell you that coffin weighed a fucking ton. His legs were going as he was walking down the aisle, and everyone's looking at him crying. And I was like, wow, but it was one of the most powerful things I've ever seen. But it hit me. It's my turn now. So I've got this tiny little coffin and I've got to walk it. It felt like an ultra marathon. It broke me. And then I say a few words and my daughter comes in, my eldest, and she goes, I've got something to read out. COVID again. The vicar, when we go in, telling all my lot to wear masks. You want to tell my lot to wear masks today? Masks is not the day. And he's like, you're only allowed in. They all just weighed in. There's only meant to be about 15. There's about 30 of them. I was like, I ain't missing this. Lula stands up, reads this poem, pitch perfect. I'm shit hot speaker when it comes to public speaking. I ain't never seen nothing like that before. Tonality, tempo. She takes you up, she takes you down, she smiles, everyone's crying. I was like, woo. So I've just seen my wife do that. Now I've seen my daughter do that. Time to fix up. So, no kids, can't have kids, can't have kids. I've always said to my family, our third child will be from me. So think about it. It actually is now. Because when we go full circle again, my wife, for whatever reason, these women are amazing, like super in tune. She goes, I've done a pregnancy test. I went, why? You might as well call it PVA glue is what I used to say. She was like, you better get yourself to the doctors. I made a running joke. I was like, where have you been? She went, shut up, you. We're pregnant. We're going to Mexico over Christmas. So I was like, we're going to Mexico tomorrow. What do we do? She was like, we pack the case, we go rest, and we'll have a scan when we get back. But we're pregnant. So we do that. We have the scan. Baby's there. I then run to the hospital. I want you to test my sperm. He's like, why? You're on nothing. We've done this loads of times. I'm like, test my sperm. Rings me back after 4 days. He was like, you've got like 4 million. Average health is something like 13 or 14. I went, don't matter, mate. One's made it to where it needs to get to. And he was like, exactly. He said, I don't like using the word miracles, but go do your thing. Go and enjoy your family. A little girl. So we have her at home. There's no hospital interventions. There's no midwife. There's me, my wife, my mother-in-law, and her sister, and Lula. 2 hours of labour in this birthing pool. 1 push, 2 push, baby comes out. I take her out of the water because she's like this in the water because babies don't breathe when they're in water. That's why they can stay under there. I then take her out. I take the cord around her neck and I give her to mummy. 1, 2, 3. Crying. Everyone bursts into tears. When you watch the video, because my wife, I'm like, babes, are you sure you want to put that out there, yeah? Like, you know, people can see what I can see from time to time. She's like, shut up. This is to show women that it can be done a different way. And my daughter said it. She was like, is that it? This looks pretty easy. And
I've seen the video.
Yeah.
So was the reason for wanting to do the natural birth? And
yeah.
No intervention? Was that from education?
Take control. Yeah. It was education. We did a course for 10 weeks for about 3 or 4 hours. Mm-hmm. And there was education to it all, but we weren't going into it reckless and blind. But my wife didn't want anything to do with the hospital. And you think about it, babies are born everywhere in the world, yeah? Africa don't have no doctors in this far village. Like, so how have they done it? Amazonian forest, like, how have they done it? So it's just got a little bit distorted. I'm not saying there's not a time and a place for medical intervention, but you've also got to empower yourself. And you can empower yourself because you've got one of these now. And you've got to sift through a load of nonsense and there's the truth somewhere in it. And once you do that, yeah.
I just want to say, like, I don't know if I'll be able to articulate it very well, but the fact that you mentioned before about having identity and, you know, if anything ever happened, your daughter can always be like, this is what my dad was. Yeah, exactly. But then in the same breath, it shows that what you are doing is being highly influential and impactful to her because she's reading things how
Mate,
do you know?
this is what I say to influencers and clients and stuff like that. I'm like, who and what are you influencing? So when I've got someone on a one-on-one course, they'll start looking at the branding, they'll start looking at the Instagram, and I'm like, no. It only takes a few. I call them warriors of light, yeah? So if you're going to take this information forward, forget your branding, yeah? If you're being real, you're being authentic, and you're being vulnerable, people will gravitate towards you because they can resonate like, yeah, shit, he hasn't got it all figured out. No. He has been through the mud where I've been. That's where you get proper followers, not, oh, I like that top. Oh, those trainers are sick. Trainers come and go. Some of them keep them, like, but that's me in a nutshell.
No, you're saying about warriors, and I feel like for a young girl,
it's avatar, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you've obviously, between you and your wife, have equipped her.
Yeah.
Like, she's been through a lot more than many 10-year-old girls would.
And this is where you gotta, like, perspective. I had hardships, yeah. We've all had hardships. This girl also lives quite a privileged life in the sense of a house, 2 cars on a drive. But she's been to war. She's nearly lost her dad 3 times. She's lost her granddad to lung cancer. I lost my agent suddenly. That was like her dad to her as well. She's lost her brother. I can't speak on that from a 10-year-old's perspective. She's like an avatar. And then my daughter comes in, my little daughter, wild. She just says all the time, Athena can do it. Athena will do it. So this morning, I found Athena coming out of these cupboards that we've got, big drawers, and she's just going, she's gone up to gone up to this big cupboard. She goes underneath at the bottom. I'm like, oh, smart ass, because she can't reach the handle. She pulls it open. She then gets a chair from the island, pushes it, rams it up, starts climbing up like a little monkey. She then goes and reaches, and then she's stuck in it. So I come downstairs. I'm like, Athena, what are you doing? And she's going, help me. No urgency to the help. Help me. And I'm like, what are you after? She's like, I want a date. I'm like, you want dates? Or raisins? Why don't you just ask me? No, Athena, do it. I'm like, all right then, Athena, you do it. And she's like rifling through, and I'm just holding her feet. And then she comes out and she's like, got my dates. And I'm like, right. And then today she got again, this morning, I said, what do you want? She's like, cheese. So she's scrambling through the fridge. And like, when I say cheese, you talk about diet, you can eat meat. You can eat dairy. It's all to do with your gut microbiomes. It's also to do with where you source your meat from. So organic's one thing, grass-fed's another. Whether it's milk, A1, A2, all of that, it's where you source it from. Then you realise you don't need to eat that much. So that 3 meals a day is a myth. I've done a 7-day water fast. I've done a 7-day dry fast. No water, no food. Takes you to the depths, but when you come out of it, you're like, wow, I feel cleansed. I can go, we talked about you, I messaged you at 12 o'clock. I was up at 5. I've not had any food. I've had a water and what you gave me, a matcha latte. We're good to go.
Is that your daily thing then? Is it?
Nah, if I feel like food, I'll eat food. But I don't subscribe to you need breakfast. I'm alive. I'm energized. You're not looking at someone that's a cancer survivor. That was just something I needed to overcome to become who I am now. And don't get me wrong, I don't want adversity knocking on my door anytime soon. But I'm equipped. I've just got to make sure in the midst of that carnage and chaos, composure. Where's your purpose?
So how are you equipped then? Does that tie into your mindset stuff that you're doing?
Yeah, I don't even use the word bulletproof anymore. I say bomb-proof. So we're just ready. And sometimes you've got...
No, but I feel like you play it down. Do you know what I mean?
But there's always got to be an air of humility and integrity.
I'm
not going to be, I did this, I did that. No. That's why I talk to you about the story and I show you the dark time. The light is evident. You've seen it right in front of your eyes.
I've met you today for the first time, and you're honestly one of the strongest people I've ever met in my life.
But I told you this on the phone yesterday when we jumped on the call. Get your seatbelt on.
Oh.
And I didn't mean seatbelt. You've been to Alton Towers, yeah?
Yeah, I have. Didn't get on the rides, I'm too small.
Yeah. It's got to come over your shoulders.
But
when you're really on the roller coaster, forget that.
Yeah.
Let's ride it till the wheels fall off.
It's just like I've stared at you for 3 hours of being recording. I've had all sorts of emotions, but you smile as well. You smile so infectious. You've got so much to give to help other people. And talk us through now, what you are doing with obviously the mindset and what you're doing to help other people now.
I just walk in a room, really simplify it, leave that place a better place. You might just impact one person. I don't go in and try and be the centre of attention. But when I listen and I talk to someone, I listen actively. That's my best thing. So when you're a public speaker, everyone thinks it's about this. No, you've got to work the room, you've got to understand the room, you've got to see, you've got to be super sensitive. You might say something and someone will twitch or they'll put their hand in their hand. Right, let's spend a little bit of time on that. Because this message is for you now. This message is for you. That message is for you. So anytime I'm in a room, just leave it a better place. How can you add value? I'm not saying I know it all. I went and did the master's degree because when I get to the top table, there ain't no chance someone's saying, well, what degree have you got? One second. There it is. Right now.
So what is the top table for you then? What does that look like?
I don't know. Just go in the room. So I'm heading up the United alumni. That's like dealing with war veterans, PTSD. They've gone, they've played, they've now finished, your identity's gone. Ain't nobody writing anything in the papers about you now. Your phone's got real quiet because nobody needs you or wants anything from you. Who are you?
And you found that about you. So when we're talking about footballers, when they retire, they lose their identity.
Yeah, marriage rate, look at it all.
Your legacy's gonna live on forever.
Yeah.
What you've done.
We're good,
who gives
man.
a fuck about football?
No, that was the platform, that's a springboard, that's a door opener. Businessmen are quite fascinated by that. But what footballers also need to realise is businessmen have gotten to where they've gotten to, but their whole thing is being able to teach you a skill set. So it might be in a tech company, but what they're really looking for is someone that's dedicated, someone that can go the extra mile, someone that's fit as well. Don't forget the physical side of things. People that are resilient are strong. They can think under pressure, which you've done. Don't even need to start thinking about how the brain works. So when you understand the brain, the left-hand side is very much analytical, logical thinking. We're quite right-hand side, working. You need to make a decision under pressure. So once you marry the two and you get the skill set, you can go into any business.
Talk us through
Transferables.
the charity you're setting up.
Yeah, so that's the next thing. So obviously, I've just landed back from America. I've got to go back tomorrow morning. Just got a little bit of a solo mission to do there. And then I've got to sit down with the PFA, all the governing bodies, with my agency. And my vision is to create a wellness centre. Because you can't go through all of this and not help others. You just can't. You can't. So, wellness centre, loads of stuff in regards to what I've found out, where I've been, even last Christmas, I knew about the diagnosis. I was in a clinic in Mexico all over Christmas. People were looking at me. I went away for 10 weeks. They were like, oh, your holiday looks amazing. That's the myth and the mirage of social media. Don't get fooled by that. I was in a clinic from 7 o'clock till 4 o'clock every day for 3 weeks. You saw what you saw, and I also showed you stuff that was from 2 weeks ago. Everyone gets caught up in social media with time. I need to get it out now. Ain't nobody care about your life that much. You could have been at that concert last week. You don't need to, if you're going to put something up, think about it. Think before you speak. Just think. Post. They're not even looking at your picture anymore. It's like blink of an eye. If your reels, if you don't catch your attention within 2 or 3 seconds, think about your song. that you're going to put with it. What's going to come? Where's it going to come? How's it going to spark someone's imagination and thought? Then they're going to stick with you. So it's just chess, not checkers.
What does the wellness centre look like then? Obviously, you talk about visualisation, and I'm pretty sure you've got in your mind what you want it to look like.
So it's circular, and there's a hub in the middle, and everything else off the side of it is all the biohacking stuff, your hyperbarics, your vitamin C's, your red light, your cold plunge. And in the middle, we go to work. We go breath. We go knowing yourself. It's like an inner sanctuary. And it's got to be near the airport in Manchester, because even you boys will fly from Manchester. And people have got to fly in. And we've also got to find some greenery, and we've got to have some water, because we've got to connect with the earth again. That's where community's built. We've got disconnected. We stopped having conversations because our heads are in the phone. Like, what should I have left? What? An hour and a half ago? Bothered. Train will wait for me. Or I'll just get the next train. It is what it is. But I'll arrive on time when I'm meant to. And then when I enter that room, hi, I'm Joe Thompson. The footballer, the dad, the brother, the son, the friend, the businessman, the husband. Call it whatever you want, man. Dress it up.
I would call you the legend.
The legend. I am me, flaws and all. Can't be anybody else. Ain't trying to imitate, ain't trying to recreate. Don't get me wrong, I'm not daft to think that success doesn't leave clues. They're telling you, but it's up to you to connect the dots. So never the victim, ever. But felt like it at times, but that's not the narrative and the story that I'm trying to say. Because I've got this big, big vision that they do a story on my life. So they ain't doing it anytime soon, because we've got another 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years to go. But me and my wife are sat at the back of this cinema, and all these kids are coming out and they're going, wow, that was some journey. That was a proper story. They don't know that it's me and her, and we're sat laughing, giggling, eating some popcorn. And there we go. We listen to all the feedback, and nobody knows we're at the back of the cinema. So yeah, I'll see you at the screening.
I'll be there, but I'll know it's you. Joe, you've been an absolute legend, mate, honestly. Thank you so much for sharing that story.
No, absolute pleasure.